I can't hardly hear.
His eardrums are frozen.
We have to wait till actually 6 o'clock.
Okay. Right on the money at 6 o'clock.
That's what I hear.
I can ask. Yes. One of them.
Are we live, Gemma?
We're good.
Okay, y'all ready? We're going to call this meeting to order. Y'all please rise for the invocation and pledge. Commissioner Criswell.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this wonderful day you've given us, Father. Father, we want to thank you for the freedom to be able to drive up here and have this meeting to begin with. Father, we want to pray for our country, pray for our leaders, Father, and pray for us. Let us have an open mind and do what's right for our county and for the constituents within, Father. Forgive us for our many sins as you lead us home safely to our families. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, to see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, but with that, I would like to let y'all know we need to strike item 10C from the agenda. And with that, I would stand for approval of the agenda as amended.
Madam Chair, would also like to move to strike item 8C, 8B, I'm sorry, 8B. Randy had
Okay.
a family emergency and he can't be here tonight.
Okay,
Which one is that? 8B.
8B, the discussion with Red Rock Fuels. Okay. So with those two amendments, I will stand for an approval of the agenda.
So move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes from January 7th meeting.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, approval of accounts payable and payroll. I'm guessing you all had a chance to review those. And I will stand for a motion to approve.
Move we approve.
And I'll,
Second.
got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And item 4, informational items. Presentation update on Conservation District projects with Roosevelt Soil and Water Conservation District. Mike Cohn, you are up.
Good evening. It's good to be here as usual. I think it's been a couple, 3 years since I had the opportunity to come and kind of give you all an update as to what your local soil and water conservation district is up to and what we've been trying to accomplish and the directions that we're trying to go. We have several different projects that we maintain. We continue to keep pushing forward and moving forward with a lot of them. One of them, without a doubt, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on all of them. There's one that I want to visit with just a tick about this evening. But we always have our shade ball project going on. It is ongoing and growing, and we are always excited about it. To date, we are just shy of 700,000 balls that have been moved and put on stock tanks of some sort to try to alleviate either evaporation or better water quality or icing issues as well. Another project that we have that we're always excited is we have a small cost share program that we do that kind of takes care of some smaller projects that maybe NRCS can't quite handle out there that doesn't fall in their realm. We some of y'all attended a meeting this past week where we've entered into an agreement with New Mexico Tech, and where they're going to do a study on carbon sequestration on grasslands around here. So we're starting that little process. But and those are just kind of some of the things that we try to continue to keep rolling and keep doing. But the one that we're always very pro and have been for several years now is our rain enhancement program. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. I believe y'all should have got which it's up on the screen too, in your packets there. So did y'all have one?
I'm looking at it on here.
Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, I'll just kind of run through this a little bit. You know, our rain enhancement program, without a doubt, has been going on since the late 90s. Had a little interruption there in the late 2000s and the teens, and since we've kind of had a little hit and miss, but we're back trying to rock and roll and trying to go hard at it right now. And I'm not going to give a full how this works or anything else. I think most of y'all commissioners have set through and know how kind of the basis of it and kind of how it works. But kind of what I wanted to do this evening is just give you a little update as to where we are and what we have accomplished. We are in the process. We're in the middle of. We were appropriated just shy of $1 million to do 1 year worth of seeding. And what you see in the outlined areas is what is called the target area. We, you know, as everyone knows, you know, funding in the state of New Mexico doesn't show up till the 1st of July. So we were able to do 3 months this past summer, July, August, and September. And in this little pamphlet is kind of some information about what happened in those 3 months and what we got out of it. But to begin with, I wanted to show you the target area. And this is the area that SOAR, the company that we contract with that actually does the work, has to acquire the license, and they get a license through ISC, Interstate Stream Commission, is the one that issues license for any kind of work in this nature in the state of New Mexico. Soil and Water Conservation does not get the license. Since they are the ones physically doing the work, well, then they're the ones that have to acquire the license. And so they have. That deal, kind of in opposite of our state, works off a calendar year on that license instead of the physical year. So they had a license to do the past 3 months, repetition to have that license renewed. And I believe Kendall here in a couple of weeks ago, I think they just got that renewed for the calendar year 25. So they're geared up and ready to go. We, like I said, we ran for 3 months. There's funding sitting in place, and it will kick back in gear right around the 15th of April and go till the end of June. And we have funding to get through there. At the present time, we have lobbyists in Santa Fe working to get some funding to continue on. That hopefully we can just roll through the whole summer, and that's our goal. But you know, you guys are in Santa Fe trying to get money too, and y'all all understand how that process works. So you know, we never know. But if we look at this real quick, you know, we kind of, you know, the first page showed you the target area. You might wonder how come the zigs and the zags up on the northern part. This is without a doubt the largest target area that we ever went after. Okay. Before, for the longest time, it was just Roosevelt and Curry County. Curry County got out of it, and then it was Roosevelt and Lee County. Then that was kind of a little hit and miss here and there getting funding. And so we kind of, as we were in Santa Fe testifying at different times in different hearings, we had a lot of senators and representatives say, well, how come you don't come do this where we're from? So it made us kind of start thinking, and we first jumped out big, said, well, let's just try to get a statewide program. And with that in mind, there's only, I think, 55% of this actual land in the state of New Mexico that you can do this over. You know, with all the military bases, the mountain ranges, things of that nature, you just physically can't do a summer program on some of that country. And then that got scaled back down, And we decided, well, let's go after the eastern third of the state. And whenever we proposed to do this target area, as you see that line that's diagonally going kind of across Colfax County, that was kind of following I-25. And it was going to come straight down and then straight south. And whenever SOAR went after their license, that was right after the fire up there. And so there was lots of folks in the Las Vegas area, the Moore area, that were very, very concerned over the burn scar. They thought we were going to come wash them down the mountain and things of that nature. And if you know anything about the way that rain enhancement works, if anything, it takes a lot of the severity out of clouds and out of the way that they operate and the way that they work. So since there was some complaints and some pushback there, ISC, this is the outline that they gave us, and they followed county lines is what they did. So with that in mind, Roosevelt Soil and Water District, we approached every single soil and water district within those red lines and asked them to sign a JPA, Joint Powers Agreement, with us before we would ever go do anything over the top of their district. We weren't out to do things that they didn't want happening in their part of the world. And we received joint powers with every single district, with the exception of Colfax up there, and they were kind of with the Moore people and so forth. So actually, we were not allowed to go into Colfax County up there. So basically, that Union Colfax line is what became the actual line. But this is what got approved. But since they would not sign the JPA, then we told our contractor, do not go into their district, do not do any work there. And that's only fair. They don't want us there, we don't need to be there. And that's just the way we see it and the way we felt about it. So with that in mind, the rest of the area, we worked very hard. And as y'all know, we had quite a few opportunities, July, August, and September this last year. And, I think if you flip the page there and look at the second page, the second thing we got on there is the drought monitors. One from whenever we started, the first day of July, and the one on the bottom is the one whenever it finished, the last day of September. And not near as much red, not near as much yellow, not near as much tan. Okay. So quite a bit of difference there, just, and this is a U.S. drought monitor. We have no control over this or what, how it's made or anything. And we just kind of thought that was kind of interesting to throw those two in there. Which I think everybody's got a page of it or has a hard copy in front of you. So that kind of shows those two. As we move to the next one, we start getting into some details as to what they actually saw, what the study found. We had to, in order to do this, it wasn't like they just gave us money and said, here, go have fun and see clouds. We had to do a lot of reporting and a lot of, and with this, we have a gentleman that's a consultant for us that we pay that is helping us through a lot of things. And he is retired from Texas, and he was in charge of the Texas State Rainfall Enhancement Program for 25 plus years. And his name is George Bomar. And so we have him hired as our consultant. And so he does a lot of the not investigating, but the looking into all the numbers and things of that nature. And so with that, he works hand in hand with our state climatologist, Mr. DeBow, down at New Mexico State, as well as they take all the information and took it over to Texas Tech to it's in here somewhere, Dr. Ruiz. And they did this study and kind of came up with some of these figures that we're fixing to talk about as to what actually happened in this 3 months. Now then, that being said, go to the page right before that one, if you can. That being said, if you know anything about the way the mechanics of this works, in actuality, what we do, whenever they go and seed a cloud, what they're doing is giving that cloud material that it needs to go ahead and finish doing what it needs to do. 9 times out of 10, most clouds that form and try to rain in our arid part of the world are starving to death, better lack of terms. And they they don't have enough material in them for the moisture to actually grab a hold of and continue to grab a hold of and make a raindrop towards heavy enough it can fall to the earth. So all we do whenever we go out and see the cloud is what they're doing is they're just putting more material in the cloud for that moisture to be able to grab a hold of. That's all they do. They're, I stand in front of a lot of groups and talk about this, and I say, number one thing, this is not a cure. This is not a fix. We're not curing anything. All this is a tool to help with what's already going to happen. We're going to enhance what's already happening. We're not making it going to rain out of the clear blue sky. We got to have the right cloud, move in the right direction with the right situation for all this to happen and to enhance it. And so that's what they did. And as they found through our radar systems that they use nowadays, it's wow. The technology they have to do this with nowadays. They can, between the meteorologist, he's the one that's on the radio with the pilot in the plane, telling them exactly when, where, how to burn their flares and to do their deal. And it's pretty precise. GPS nowadays, the radar systems, we all have, well, I left mine sitting over there, we all have these little radars that we carry around in our pockets now. And we know when a storm's coming and where it's coming, and they have all that information too, and they can take clouds and slice them in half and say, you need to be at altitude such and such, you need to be latitude, longitude. Okay, burn your flares here for 10 seconds. All right, circle back around, go hit it over. It's very, very precise as to when and where and how they're doing it. In the day, I will admit, back in the 90s and early 2000s, there was some guesswork to it. That pilot was kind of, well, I think it looks good over there, But just think of technology. I go back, think in the late 90s, what kind of phone were you carrying around with you then? A lot of it's still a bag phone or a big old flip phone or something, And just think of that technology and where it's come to today. The same things happened over here. So the precision of this is very, very advanced. And there's not any guesswork left in it. There's two different ways that they seed. They either do it from the base of the cloud, which they burn a flare, which is basically salts, and they catch the updraft and take the material up that way. The other is burning flares at the top or at the 25,000 feet level, where they're burning flares that contain silver iodide, which is the most closely particle out there that most naturally represents what's already in the cloud. That's why it is used. At the back of this thing, which I won't get into, there's a page on there that is always a question we get asked. Oh, silver iodide, that's heavy metal. You're spraying heavy metals over us and you poison us all and you're killing us all. And the minute amount that they use, there's been study after study after study done all over the Western United States in target areas, non-target areas, trying to find it where they've used it. They can't find it anymore in the target areas than they find it in the non-target areas. And where they've done more studies than anything is in winter programs and snow. And, another way I look at it is they've been doing this for decades in California and they're still doing it. And if there's any environmentally strong state in our union, it is probably California. And if it was terribly bad and going to kill everybody, I think they would have it outlawed pretty fast and pretty quick, and they don't. They do a lot of it and a lot of winter stuff to get their snowpack. So anyway, with some of that being said, you kind of look in here and some of the changes in storm behavior that list, things happen that they thought was going to see happen. They saw storms expand over twice the area that they were normally going to. They saw them rain for twice as long as they wanted or they thought they were going to. And so they got twice as much water out of them as what they initially thought. And that's very, very typical of what happens, because as they start putting those agents into those clouds quit building up and up and up and up, and they get their particle and they start spreading out and getting flatter, and they go do their job and do what we want them to do. And so that is very typical. Whenever we hear the stories all the time, well, they went and seeded that cloud and it turned into a severe thunderstorm and hailed this and did that and tornadoes. And truth be known, whenever they do seed a cloud, the opposite actually happens. Now then, have this be known, and this is very, very, stringent. If a cloud ever turns into a warning of any shape, form, size, whether it's severe thunderstorm warning, flash flood warning, tornado warning, any kind of warning assigned to it, it's hands off. Plane turns around and goes back. So maybe the cloud's fine, he takes off and he's flying, he's getting to the altitude he's supposed to on his way over there. National Weather Service turns it into a warning, they divert and go somewhere else. They're not allowed to touch a storm that's already become a warning. That's it. That's federal law. So that, just to let you know, that way, if you ever hear and see, well, that storm that came that came across Kenna the other day, severe thunderstorm warning. Look, it just hailed everything out and beat everything up, and tornadoes formed it. Well, if it was a warning to begin with, they couldn't have touched it. Another neat thing about the technology side of this thing, and this will be on our webpage once we get back to flying again, is there's an app that you can download on your phone called FlightAware. And if you know the tail number of any plane anywhere, and you enter that tail number into that app, it will tell you where that plane is, what it's doing, if it's in the air, if it's on the ground, where it's at, and its flight pattern. When we know which planes will be here in April, we will put those tail numbers of those two planes out, and you can download them on your phone, and you can, it's not going to alert you, hey, this plane left and is in the air. If you see, so I wonder if that plane's out seeding a cloud today, you can pull it up and find out. Well, no, it's sitting on the ground in Portales. And they stationed the two planes that we had for this area, one in Portales, one in Artesia, is where they were. The one in Artesia kind of took care of the southern end. One in Portales kind of took care from here north, is the way that deal kind of works. So with all that being said, I was going to try not to take too much of your time because I know you have a full agenda. But we kind of discovered some things out of what storms we did. And to begin with, we had, out of those 3 months, had 39 days that the planes actually did work, and which is phenomenal in our part of the world. You just think about, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we had one where we just did Roosevelt and Lee County, and we had money to do 1 month. And I think the plane took off 2 times over a 1 month period of time. And that was more out of desperation. It was really kind of, well, we're probably not going to do much good, but we've been sitting here for 2 weeks. Let's go see what we can do type of thing, And so the month of July was biggie. And as things moved on, well, they had 39 days. And we thought that was a phenomenal beginning of the season. Out of those, these results that we're talking about here is just off of 15 days. So they only collected data and only gave us data for 15 of those 39 days. Had some software issues, some technical things that are above and beyond my comprehension and my ability. And so with that being said, could you take these numbers and double them some? Probably so, because this is just off 15 days, not off all 39 days. And as you get down there, they broke it down into counties as to how much extra rain each county got. Curry County was the big winner, got an extra inch of rain according to their data. Roosevelt, we got another 4/10 out of that data. What's 4/10 of rain worth? What's a drop of water worth to us anymore? Union County, Plains spent a lot of time up in Union County at one point in time. They did a lot of work up there. You will see, I believe it's on the next page, this one that you threw up there. Like I said, and we need to make this clear that, it lists down there San Miguel County, and you said, well, I thought San Miguel was outside the target area. And it is, but they did not go into San Miguel County that was a cloud that was in the target area. They started working on it, and then it changed directions a little bit and wound up going across part of San Miguel County. So that's, to be transparent, they reported it. It's not like they didn't go, oops, we weren't supposed to do that, and, ran away, type of deal. Because this whole deal, it's all about being a 100% transparent, and we feel as a Soil and Water District, we're very strong advocates for this. Does it work? Yeah, I think it does, and I think it will. But the only way we're going to truly find out is let's go do it for about 10 years. And then at the end of 10 years, then we can sit there and look, no, this is viable, or nah, maybe not. Maybe we don't move forward. But until you truly do it year after year after year and see what it can do, that's the only way we're going to find those things out. So we thought it was interesting, the upper part of this page gets into, small cells, multi-cells, type Bs. You're getting into the technical part of it that a lot of it gets over my head, to be honest with you. You know, it breaks down there the two different types of seating, whether it's the base seating or the top seating, and you know those different opportunities and how much more rain you got out of those. So, I mean, there is some neat information coming out of this. Like I said, we're in Santa Fe trying to get more funding for it to continue on. We would always, you know, we went to the city council and presented all this here a week or two ago, and I think they're excited about it. And we asked them for a letter of support, and they were more than happy to give it to us. And if our county would be glad to give us a letter of support that we could have, we would thank y'all very much for that. You know, the more people that we can sit here and show, hey, you know, we're just trying. This is something that we're trying to do and trying to enhance what's already going to happen. So, you know, with that being said, on top there's a feasibility study they put together to hand legislatures that does this really work or not. And so with that being said, I mean, I'll entertain any questions if you have any. We're excited to get the crank back up in April. We'll be real excited if we can get our lobbying stuff done and we get out of March and we have some money coming again to continue on into the next fiscal year, but that's yet to be seen. So anyway.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So it's funny you're here talking about this today, and I really appreciate you talking about the safeness of this, because I just got a call as recently as yesterday about chemtrails and the iodine and that kind of stuff. And can you tell me again when y'all stopped doing this for this portion?
September 30.
So y'all have done no cloud seeding since September
No.
30th? Because I was told yesterday y'all were cloud seeding, and I walked outside my front door and I saw 4 jet streams going by, and they were telling me that's the cloud seeding. So
No.
that was not the cloud seeding.
No, sir.
And then I went online and I started reading about, what is it, the silver iodine. And I read where it says it's safe. And, you know, but I have had several people talk to me and they are convinced that this is something
That's why we put together this very back page that is nothing but, and it gives several studies there that they can go to online.
right.
And I mean, they're very objectively done, very scientifically done. And
I gathered that through my own studies as well. So
yeah, I mean, there's and I don't have it here today, but I mean, we actually have a little video of a plane flying and the flare burning, you know, and they're just flares that are attached to the wings, and they turn them on and burn them for a certain period of time. And I mean, it's just smoke off those flares is what is the particles. So, you know, you just think of firecrackers. If you have some kind of firecracker on 4th of July and, you know, the smoke coming off it, you know, and the amount of time it lasts. Well, the minute amounts of those in there is extremely minimal.
thank you for addressing that.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank y'all for having us. If you need anything else in the future, let us know.
Okay, moving on. Discussion on road AV with DOD George Jones.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, thanks for having me. My name is George Jones. I'm currently the interim director of staff out of Kent Air Force Base. If you remember Rick Masters, I'm sitting in his position right now. I'm here to talk about AV Road in Roosevelt County that goes into Melrose Range, and just trying to figure out how we can all come together and get this resolved, because we're in a pretty good time crunch at Kent Air Force Base right now, because the funding that we have to pave this road is running out. We need to have this money obligated by the 30 August of this year, or we're going to lose that money. We're not going to be able to pave that road. We need that road paved pretty bad when it comes to the Kent Air Force Base. We have a lot of projects that are going to be going on out at the Melrose Range, things that are coming in the future that road being paved is going to assist us greatly, not only in getting the equipment out to the range, but also in cost savings. Because if we don't get that road paved and we have to deal with the Caliche Road as it continues, it's going to increase our cost of all those projects that we have coming ongoing. So I'm kind of new into the project. I know this has been out there for about 5 years. I know the funding lasts for about 5 years for the DAR projects. And like I said, this money is running out. So what I'm really looking for is some assistance on how we can help you get to the yes answer at the end of the day on getting this road paved.
My biggest concern with the road right now, Madam Chair, if I may, is if we pave the road now, and y'all take care of that, obviously, then in 10 to 15 years, Roosevelt County is going to have to come back, and it's a $5 million road right now. It's going to be a $10 to $15 million road in 10 to 15 years, and it's going to be our responsibility, and we can't handle that. What's your thoughts on that?
So we have many paved roads in all the counties within the state, right? And those are the responsibility of the counties. We would do like the rest of us do. I'm a commissioner up in Clovis as well. You know, you go out and ask for funding from our representatives and our senators to help pave those. I mean, we've had significant success in getting 6084 redone by capital outlay funding. It wasn't the county that ponied up that money. That was capital outlay funding that funded that. And so we would anticipate that same thing. And you'd actually, in my opinion, would have a little more gusto because that road goes into a major asset for national security of this country. This range is used by so many people. It's unbelievable. We are the most sought after range because we own the range at Kennedy Air Force Base, and we're able to schedule all those things, right? So I would say to you that there would be capital outlay money from the state to go back in and take care of that. Right now, you have to take care of it anyway, right? As a Caliche Road, it's your responsibility to go in and take care of that. And so I understand if you have to go in and do repairs, it's not going to be the entire road we're going to have to go redo. But that Caliche Road has to be repaired quite often. I'm almost positive, not only from the rain, but also from the traffic.
Well, I want you to know that I think, I'm not going to speak for everybody up here, but I think I can. We're in full support of Cannon Air Force Base and the military. Love you guys, do anything we can to support you, but it's also a matter of, like I said, you don't know what capital outlay is going to do. You don't know what from one year to the next, if you're going to be able to get that funding. So that's my biggest concern. I don't know what the rest of the commission's thoughts are.
Okay, so one of the issues that I have, I agree with Commissioner Parker on that, because we don't just go pave our county roads because, that lead up to someone's house. We have very few residents that utilize that road for their home or personal. 99% of the traffic that's going to be utilizing that road is going to be for Cannon Air Force Base. Yet we're going to be responsible for the pavement of that. Also, there's the 2-mile easement that's at the end of that road where it leads into the bombing range. I believe when we first went into agreement on this road, we did not know, I don't think anybody knew, that we were going to have an easement for that last 2 miles. Again, that last 2 miles goes into Cannon Air Force Base. It is all state lease on both sides of the road. So whoever leases that property on that last 2 miles is going to already have access because they have the state lease. So they will have access to that road. The rest of it's going to be for people in Cannon Air Force Base. But you guys are wanting us to get the lease, the state lease, the easement to cross state lease when it's not benefiting any of us. It's not benefiting the constituents that we support, and that it's their money that we're using, and we need to be good stewards of their money. And I just have a problem with the easement, that last 2-mile easement. I do support Cannon Air Force Base. I think your guys are great. We wouldn't be able to do anything without you. But I think it's y'all's responsibility to get that easement. And then again, I do have the same concern he does with the maintenance of pavement versus maintenance of that Caliche Road and the difference in cost that it's going to be to the taxpayers. So those are my issues.
Right. Completely understand. And, I was reviewing the memorandum agreement that is out there that was signed back in April of 21. And back then it was full support. Yep, we're gonna go ahead and get this done. And we're 5 years down the road, and we still haven't honored the memorandum agreement and those type of things. So all I'm trying to do is how we solve for yes, right? Because from a national defense standpoint, we need that road paved. We completely understand, and if there's a way for us to help pay for the easement and those type of things, we're willing to look at those. But we all need to come to the table so we can have these discussions and figure out what does yes look like. And right now we haven't been able to do that. As I've unfolded this effort that we have, I am getting conflicting information from everybody that I talk to, right? And so I'm trying to get everybody in the same room. Let's sit down, let's have a conversation and figure out for yes. At the end of the day, because while I understand Roosevelt County's concern, we also have the concern of the overall taxpayer for the U.S. and you all as well, of the increased costs of maintaining Melrose Range and putting in those extra things we need out there to train our airmen and soldiers to go take care of business. So all I'm asking for is an avenue to get together and solve for yes, and have these conversations and figure out, is there a way that we can use the funding from DAR to help with the easement and those type of things? Those are things we need to come together on. And also I understand there's some concerns with the state and some of the things that they're coming after the Roosevelt, all the counties in New Mexico for all the easements that are out there. But I'm willing to be that advocate at the state level for you and get a meeting so we can actually sit down and come to a conclusion to solve for yes. And I completely understand. I'd probably be in the same boat you are as being concerned with the expense from the Roosevelt County residents. But I'm also looking at a much bigger picture, obviously, from a standpoint of national security. So that's all I'm asking for is what is that avenue? How do we get together? Like I said, we're running out of time. And then the ability for us to go ask for more funding in this manner becomes diminished when we don't use the funding that we were given in the first place. It's significantly diminished.
So this is only my second meeting. I'm just recently elected, took this position in January, but I haven't heard of any meetings. I don't know where you're getting the conflicting information. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I mean, because as I unfold this, right, I have the Air Force side from what Jeff Davis and his team are telling me. Then I have the state telling me something else through email traffic and other things. And then all I'm hearing is hearsay from everywhere else, right? So I'm just trying to level the bubbles. All I want is everybody together. Let's have a discussion so it's all out in the open. What I don't want is the county to talk to the state and the state talk to us, and then we never come together and we never come to a conclusion or resolution on the concern that we have. And so that's all I'm asking for.
I'd be all about, I don't know the rest of the commission, but myself, I'd be all about that meeting. And my biggest topic would be somebody help us with funding. So that's all.
The conflicting stories you're hearing. Yes, we did have a meeting with the state land commissioner. As far as I'm concerned, as a county commissioner, we're discussing county road easements with the state land commissioner. We got 108 roads, Roosevelt County. And y'all are only wanting to do with two miles. I don't see your participation with us meeting with the state land commissioner over 108 miles of Roosevelt County roads, any of y'all's concern, as far as I'm concerned about that. So to me, don't be bringing up the meeting with us having a meeting with the state land commissioner saying that we're at fault there for this conflicting of interest. I don't think that's any of y'all's concern.
I don't think that was said.
That's
that
the
is,
way I took it.
And I'm sorry for that. I'm sure that wasn't the intent.
yeah,
That's the way I took
that
it.
was a no way of an intent that there was that's where the conflicting information come from, nor was I concerned about the other the other roads. I have one concern, which is Road AV, right? That's the only concern that I have. And whatever I can do to bring everybody together to come to a conclusion on that one road is what I'm concerned about. But if we can assist you in another manner of coming to a conclusion on the other roads and getting this all wrapped up in one big happy package, then we're willing to do that as well. All I'm offering up is my assistance in getting these things set up, right? But you're right. The only thing I care about is AV Road. That's it. And it's from a purely national defense construct.
Okay, and on your comment about the MOU that we had, I was a commissioner then as well. And I can tell you that, yes, we did go into a memorandum of understanding. However, even at that point, the easement portion of this was never discussed. And this is just my opinion, but even if we were to come to an agreement on getting this done, I still have a problem on that last 2 miles because we're going to pay for the easement. And again, we're going to have to maintain the pavement on that last 2 miles. Okay, we're going to have to, so with the state land office and these state roads, that road was built before the base was there, and the base came and got put right in the middle of AV. The road has been there a very long time. So we built and maintained that road. And then the state land office, and that was back when it was federal, and then it got handed over to state. And then when the state got it, so then now they're telling us that what's happening with this is we've built and maintained this road with taxpayer dollars, but now they want us to pay them to be able to use this road to continue to build and maintain a road, but we've got to pay to go ahead and maintain it and build it. So that last 2 miles, again, we're going to be responsible to maintain 2 extra miles of pavement that is not going to benefit Roosevelt County residents. So I'm not sure where we need to meet with that, but that is a big problem that I have, is that last 2 miles is a huge problem with me, even the maintenance part of that last 2 miles, because when we did do the memorandum of understanding, that easement was not part of it. We assumed that was a county road, and it was just one that we kept. We didn't realize we were going to have to pay for that portion of the road.
The portion of the easement, right? And I think that was also the understanding that I have as well, based on the information that I had, was that came up later during the design phase and working with the state from the design engineers phase of it, right? So those are all things that we can talk about, and we can work through that. But like I said, getting everybody in the same room to have it, I know it can't be all the commissioners, but getting a couple in the same room with the state land office as well to talk strictly about AV, if that's what we want to do, I'm fine with that. But my concern is we're running out of time to use this funding, right? It's $6.8 million right now that we will lose in order to help, to pave that road so we can further develop Melrose Range. And so that's my concern. And that's what I want to try to do is see if we can get to solving for yes. And like I said, if we can use some of that funding to pay for the easement, we're more than happy to do so. It's just who's going to be the physical agent? Can we use that money? Those are things that we need to ask questions on. But we also need to figure out what is really ultimately the concerns from everybody, so we can address these things at one time instead of piecemealing. Because like I said, we're running out of time.
So if we was to do a joint meeting and we did it like behind closed doors, you're going to get 2 commissioners.
Okay.
Because we cannot have a
Sure.
quorum like that. But if we do it in an open format, you can have all of us, because even if you get 2 that are going to agree, you've
Right.
still got
Got to get the rest
you've
of
got to
them.
have the rest of them on board. So I think it would be a conversation that would be best suited with all of the commissioners, because I think we all have different ideas, different opinions. I think, some of us are all on board, I think, and some of us are not.
Sure.
So I think if there's a way that we could do it in an open format so that we could do it with everyone together and
Well,
discuss it.
maybe what we can do then, Madam Chair, is work with the state and see if we can get them to come down here and have the meeting here. Maybe, I hate to do it, call a special meeting just so we can
Right.
focus strictly on that particular issue. Maybe we do the AV piece and then you guys can have the conversation after we leave on the rest of the county roads that you have concern about. Because I've seen the map and your concerns, and rightfully so. I mean, the state doesn't need to piecemeal you either, right? So I understand that piece, but we may be able to facilitate that for you and ask them to come down here on behalf of Cannon Air Force Base, right? And get them down here to have that conversation if you're open to that.
Madam Chair, I think if we have actual shot callers from the state land office here and you're throwing out terms like national security, those are kind of things that get things done. And so I would be very open to that.
You okay with that? Okay. So let's try to set something up where we can do it, a public meeting, a special meeting that is just going to pertain to this.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, we'll start working that tomorrow. And obviously they're in session right now, so it might be a little difficult, but we'll do our best to make this happen as soon as we can. Because like I said, my concern is we're running out of money, and I just got into this, finding out about this concern. So I'm getting caught up very quickly. What's that?
I said Annette knows about that. She's trying to get all the.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much.
It was
for
a
your time. I
lot to
appreciate
go
it.
through it the last minute, wasn't it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very
It's a
much.
pleasure. Thank you
Appreciate
very
you.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If I can clarify something for the commissioner, the intent behind the comment with the state land office was.
Get up there at the
Can you go to
microphone.
the mic?
The comment reference to the state land office was not a bad thing. It was actually in reference to shared information that said that Stephanie Richards was already open to potentially having a conversation that might open the door to fix the 109 or 108 additional roads you have. So make no mistake, we are aware of that 108 roads, and we are not remiss to trying to find ways to help you through the state to help ourselves. We understand all of that. But it wasn't meant as a negative, period. I just wanted to make sure you understand.
Clear the air on it, and
Yeah.
it sounded pretty negative, and I was just wanting to clear the air,
Yes.
and that, make no mistake, we did have that meeting,
Yeah, no, we did. Well, we know you did, but we knew that was a good thing, not a bad thing, and not meant to be negatives for this further on conversation, period. That's
We were up there on behalf of all the Roosevelt County roads, not
Right.
just AV.
No, we understand that. Completely understand that. Just want to make sure we were clear. Are we good?
All right.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, item 5, public requests. Does anybody have anything they want to shout out to us in public request? Angie? Okay, just move on then. Item 6, elected officials and department head reports. Treasurer's office, Ms. Ramos, you are up.
Okay. All right, good evening, Commissioners. I have several months to report. They are September through December, and I'm going to start with September. I have your general fund beginning cash balance starting at $4,136,919.34. Your ending cash balance is $5,003,504.53. Any questions? Okay, I'll move on to October. Your October general fund beginning cash balance is $5,003,504.53. Your general fund ending cash balance is $4,891,394.32. Any questions for October? Okay. Your November general fund beginning cash balance is $4,891,394.32. Your general fund ending cash balance is $5,898,978.05. Questions? Okay, and last is your December general fund beginning cash balance at $5,898,978.05. And your general fund ending cash balance is $8,215,300. $862.23. Any questions? Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Assessors, Mr. Floyd.
Good evening, Commissioners. First, the Assessor's Office wants to remind everyone that the end of February is the deadline for livestock renditions and business personal property renditions. So, that being said, okay. This last election, 2 veterans exemption increases were voted in. Now the Assessor's affiliate is tracking HB 47 and the more refined HB 342, which contain language that tell how these exemptions are to be implemented. We are hoping that the $4,000 to $10,000 increase on the standard veteran exemption will be implemented in 2025 tax year. And this one will be easy to change in our Tyler system. Also, we would like the percent disabled veterans exemption to be implemented in tax year 2026. This one we are hoping we'll have application deadlines added to the bill. And right now it's just a wait and see mode. And I don't know I stand for any questions.
Anybody got anything? Nope, we're good. Thank you. Clerk, Ms. Park.
Okay. I have 2 copies of the full report of bill research, if you'd like to see them, everything that the county is watching and following. And I have somewhere notes on what I in particular am following right here. And I'm not going to go over all of them, but I am going to tell you a little bit about the ones that have a little bit of traction. First is elections. The one that has had a little bit of traction so far is Senate Bill 16. Senate Bill 16. It is unaffiliated voters in open primary elections. The clerk's affiliate is not in favor, but the Secretary of State's office is. So it's passed its first 2 houses or first 2 committees in the Senate, and it's going to the House. It was supposed to be on the Senate calendar today, but they did not hear bills today. They did just introduction of legislation. They didn't debate any bills. So when they get around to debating bills, it will be on their first calendar day, and then it will go to the House. And it will likely go to House Government Elections and Indian Affairs, and then House Judiciary. The other one is Senate Bill 85, which is already gone over to the House. It passed the Senate 42-0. That's a Campaign Reporting Act revisions, and it's not too terribly bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. And then Senate Bill 218 is currently in Senate Judiciary, and it's not scheduled yet, but it could be heard on Wednesday or Friday. And then it will go on to the House as well. And those 2 are the 2 that I think will have traction. Everything else so far has no movement. So the good ones are sitting still. The bad ones are not, in my opinion. And then nothing on the general ones. And the 2 IPRA bills, they both have been introduced and have been heard in their first committee. Both have a due pass from their first committee, but may or may not go anywhere. There's a couple in the probate bills. Haven't gained any traction yet. And then on the recording and filing side, there are two that I'm looking at. One has no movement, and the other is a redaction of personal information in county records. That has been brought up before, and it's a best practice to redact people's personal information. So we already do that. So it's not going to be a big change if it happens, because we already do it. When we're digitizing historic documents, we redact out all of the personal identifying information of the people who are in the document. So that one, it needs to be codified, but even though it has never been codified, we do it because it's best practice. A total of 987 bills have already been introduced. February 20th, which is Thursday or Friday.
Thursday.
This week is the last day to introduce legislation. So tomorrow and Thursday, we are very likely to see a couple of dummy bills that will be used to get something through that wasn't already on the agenda before the last day to introduce. But we're sitting right near 1,000 bills already. So we're watching. We've got a lot to watch, and I only made 2 copies because that was already 9 pages, and we're only watching closely 27 that directly affect us, including the assessor's bills and some DWI legislation that Darla might talk about, and the IPRA stuff and the election stuff, tax reform. I don't really have anything on dates. I know there are a bunch of dates coming up for things that we need to be meeting on, but I didn't bring that list. So if there's something on your calendar or that we need to put out a public notice for, or a special meeting, if you decide to publish one, let us know. We'll get it published. The last thing is Board of Registration has to meet prior to the 15th of March. Those 5-member Board of Registration were appointed 2 years ago in June of 23. They'll meet this March to clean up voter rolls for people that don't live here anymore, whatever. They've had a change of address since the 22 election. So I reached out to those 5 people today. I've got one left to decide what day we're going to meet. It's looking like the 4th after our meeting or the 6th in the morning. But we'll put out a public notice before that meeting, and then we'll review those 800-ish voters and remove the ones that no longer live in Roosevelt County. And then we'll bring that report back to you at the next meeting. And I don't believe I have anything else, but I'll stand for any questions.
Feel good?
I have a question.
Okay.
You pick a board every year to certify the elections with, is that correct?
County Commission is the board of
Well,
canvas.
Right, but you pick somebody to canvas. Am I not using the right term? What do you use in the elections, civilians for?
The precinct boards conduct the election.
Mhm.
The commission canvasses the election and certifies the results.
Okay.
And then we have a recount board.
Recount board.
Those, the recount board, this last time was a 5-member board made up of equal parties.
Mhm.
And it's the same as the Board of Registration. They're made up partly Democrat, partly Republican, partly declined to state voters, and a recount whatever is very close or whatever we are chosen in our recount lottery. The Secretary of State's office has an accounting firm that rolls dice basically on a public meeting, and they roll the dice, and we are chosen a precinct. Can't remember which precinct it was last time, but it was Dora or Floyd. It was not a very big precinct. It was 148-ish ballots, and they recounted those in an hour and a half. Judge Maurer and Beth Lindsay came and assisted, or watched as we unlocked the ballot boxes. We did the recount. They counted them, hand tally marks on a piece of
So you
paper.
just had 2 people for that?
5 people.
5 people, okay.
Yeah.
And do you pick those new every year or use the same ones?
We used whoever's available. I usually use the same ones over and over because they already know what to expect. We did have a new one this time. We had 4 returning and 1 new this time because our other one wasn't available. But usually I use the same ones over and over. But anybody can volunteer to do that job. Nobody wants to, but
I actually have heard of a couple that want to volunteer for it, so I'll get with you later.
well, if their names are on our list, then they're asked if they want to.
Anybody else?
Do you have a question?
I was going to, have you heard anything about the paid medical leave bill?
Yes, I looked at it the other day. Is it in that one?
I didn't see it. I think it was in here.
Remember the number of it?
House Bill 11.
House Bill 11? Yeah,
11.
that's what I was thinking. It is in there somewhere. And they're in alphabetical order, so it should be close to the top, page 1.
I have
We have
a,
45, 47, 101,
It may not be on that report.
121, 139, and 170, and 218.
It does
Right
have a committee hearing tomorrow. I can't remember which committee it's in, but it's already passed its first committee. It's headed to its second one.
House Bill 11.
And then
it's
it'll go
scheduled
to the
tomorrow,
House.
February 18th in House of Commerce and Economic Development.
And then it will go to the full house. If it
1:30.
gets a due pass, it will go to the full house, and then it will. I expect that debate in the full house to be a good one.
I'm afraid it's going to pass.
That's a
though.
pretty
Not a
serious- that's
popcorn and
pretty
Dr.
serious
Pepper
one.
kind of a good one, but
It's a pretty serious one right there for small business owners and counties and municipalities and schools.
mhm.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty detrimental, really.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you heard anything. Okay.
It is in committee tomorrow, so if you have concerns, take your concerns to those committee members, whether they're your representative or not.
Did you get that email from Joyce Morrison?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, I've got to find my thing. Detention, Miss Ramsey.
It's going to be pretty quick. So the facility count this morning was at 58. It's skewed since then. We got up to 62 and then back down to 58. We have 11 females and 47 males. We have 6 out-of-county detainees for billing. For the month of January, we billed Quay County 6,000. We have 8 people in the MAT program, 8 people in group counseling, 8 people in individual counseling, 6 on medication that are in the program, 1 on medication that is not in the program. We have 3 in our GED classes. We have 8 in yoga classes. We just started painting and art classes in our second classroom. We got the body scanner working pretty great. We're doing some more training for all of our staff, things like that. Right now we're fully staffed. We had 3 graduate the academy, and then we have 3 in the academy right now. And I stand for any questions.
Anybody?
How's the scanner?
I love it. It's pretty, you can see everything. I mean, when they're coming in, they're a little nervous that we're going to scan them, but we're scanning everybody like was requested.
Everybody.
Yep.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
DWI, Miss Reed.
Good evening, commissioners. Darla Reed with the DWI program. And it's a very busy time for me right now, or our program, because we're working on spending everything for FY25, and I write for FY26 that's due next week, which is part of your agenda that you'll get to in a bit, all the application pieces. I did bring 3 pieces of legislation that could help and could kill us either way. And one of them, I'm going to talk about kind of the easiest one first. It's called Senate Bill 378. This one was really new to us. I think it just dropped at the end of last week. And it doesn't harm us too much. It actually probably could help. It is a bill that just targets the liquor excise tax, and it's increasing that just a few cents for everything. Certain spirits and liquors that's excise taxed at $1.60. They're wanting to move it to $1.92. It's just pennies here and there, but it would be an increase in the liquor excise tax overall. It's a bill that's very short. It's only 4 pages, and it doesn't do anything other than just increase the liquor excise tax slightly. And would be a good thing if we got a slight bit more money. But I don't know how much power it has. It was in a committee. When I left my house at 5 o'clock, it still hadn't got through that committee yet. So I'll find out, I'm sure, tomorrow how that one works. Another one that our state DWI director has pushed through. They can't be political, but we needed a bill that would open the statute up, and they're requesting more money for the state level DWI personnel. I think right now, out of the 25 million that comes to the DWI program, are about 24 million, which is half of what the liquor excess tax brings in. Kind of consistently for several years, it's been at 50 million. 25 comes to 45% for the DWI program and 5 for drug court. And out of that, 600,000 is designated for the state to run our program. They can't run the program on that anymore. This bill would introduce it where they would get $1 million instead of 600,000. That's good to run. We need more money they cannot afford. I think they only have 3 program managers that cover the whole state. They need 4. They also want to hire a state level evaluator. So that is very much needed. The downside for all of us in the county is it's going to take us back about 3% per county for FY26. Well, it would actually take it this year too. Instead of whatever money we have right now, we would lose about 3% by June if it passes. So that one we'll watch. There's good and bad to it. It's needed. There's more to opening the statute that is needed other than this. The killer for us, the one that could be good and it could be bad, is I'm sorry, I didn't tell you that last one. Senate Bill 199. Sorry, I didn't get that out. But that was what I call our Julie Fernandez, our state director bill. The last one that I'll talk briefly about is House Bill 417. This was 2 bills last year that butted heads in the Tax and Revenue Committee and never made it out because they killed each other. Representative Cadena from Doñana County and Representative Ferrari from Doñana County were the 2 that led those bills last year. They have joined forces. They don't like each other, but this is going to be a tough one to kill because Cadena is very aggressive. Representative, y'all might have any kind of experience with her. Ferrari sits on, I think, Tax and Revenue Committee. So with those 2 joining together and with Ferrari on Tax and Rev, which is where it died last year, could possibly pass. What does it mean for us? Number one, you won't hear the words DWI program anymore. It would be called the Alcohol Harms Alleviation Fund. It marks out more in the statute than is there, takes everything DWI out. And basically rewords us to be alcohol alleviation harms. The problem with that, they're promising twice as much money. They'll leave the liquor excise tax alone. They won't change it at all, which will bring 50 million in like it's been doing in the past. They're adding a surtax on the end for those that buy the alcohol, anywhere from 12 cents to 25 cents. Like a can of beer might be 12 cents more on the tax. Shot might be 25 cents more per drink. They're thinking they're going to get 50 million out of that surtax. They've got that designated for specifics to do with treatment and tribal. We wouldn't get any of that money. The DWI money would still be the liquor excise tax, the 50 million. They're kind of saying in one way, Cadena sold it to us as an affiliate that would be our money. That would mean Roosevelt County would get twice as much money as we've been getting. The kind of catch-22 is it's one application and it would be open to anybody in the county that has anything to do with alcohol harms alleviation. They're even promoting it. Cadena is big with NMSU, and she has written in there where like the Board of Regents could apply for the money. Say if they wanted Safe Ride, which ENMU already has Safe Ride, but if they want any other kind of money, they could apply for it. And I even asked one of the committee people, okay, so imagine in our county, we get $300,000 comes to Roosevelt County through a formula of which is mysterious in the bill. It's not there. So that's another concern. But say we get 300,000 because we run on about, we get 120,000 in distribution and about 180 in grant that we ask for. So double that, 600,000. Okay, it comes back to the county. We ask for it as the Alcohol Alleviation Fund. Board of Regents and ENMU ask for it in their application, and DOH or MHR or any other agency dealing with anybody, with alcoholism or deaths related to alcohol, we all ask for the money. So, okay, county commissioners, you get to decide who gets what. Are you going to divide it 3 ways? That means our program goes back to not enough money, 200,000. So we don't see any protection for the DWI funds as the current programs as they currently are. Now, there could be changes in this. One of the biggest problems for us is it starts July 2025. We're applying for 2026 right now into February. That Grand Council awards us in April and we start July 1. How are we going to change this whole thing? It'll still run through DFA. It's not specific that it'll run through the current Julie Fernandez, director of the DWI fund. Will that all change to alcohol harms alleviation? That's going to be a big old jump. And I can't imagine it happening. But these people are aggressive. If it passes, the other 2 bills are debunked because there's no DWI program anymore. And so it's going to be an interesting, this is heard tomorrow morning for the first time at 8 a.m. And we have 2 or 3 people there. The crazy thing is no county has had time to take a stance of for or against yet. And I mean, I could even ask you, what do you think about it? And you're going to go, haven't read it. It's 32 pages long. We really probably, I really expect it's going to clear that first committee. It's Health and Human Services, I believe, committee. But I don't know where it'll hit a slick spot or not. But this one's, and this could change a lot of things here in the county. Different money, this money for sure, the DWI program. And we're not all married to that word, the title. We do have deaths related to alcohol in this county. We have more of those than we have deaths related to DWI crashes. We stay about 4, out of the 33 counties, we're about 32, 31 always on deaths related to drunk driving. But alcohol Harms is different. We're probably up in the top 20 counties when you take in cirrhosis of the liver, different cancers related to alcohol, suicide related to alcohol, all of those things. Then per capita, we move up in the state. So I get this as far as we need to look at all deaths, and we kind of do within the program, but our focus is the drunk driving. So I'm sorry for that much information. I do stand for questions. I will keep Annette and Mandy, they can share with you, or I will share with you as I hear things, especially tomorrow morning. I'm kind of curious how we're going to go. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, Sheriff Sanchez. You do not
Good
look
afternoon,
like Sheriff
Commissioners.
Sanchez.
Sheriff Sanchez had a family thing. He sends his condolences and me. So here I am. So an update on what we've done so far this year. We have responded to calls that resulted in reports 67 times since January 1st. I tried to get the exact calls for service right before I came, so I wanted to have it the most current. Dispatch was busy, and I didn't want to make them mad. But if you took 67 reports, we probably responded to 4 to 5 times more calls than that as an average. It's resulted in 10 arrests, and that is a few DUIs, also some more horrendous things that I can't get into in great detail, but crimes against children, substantial aggravated batteries, and some pretty high felony level things that we've been dealing with recently. We are fully staffed. We're happy to say all our deputies are certified. We have 1 transport that's open, so I should correct that. We're fully staffed at the deputy position. 1 transport we're still trying to fill, and Gemma keeps sending us applications, so we're determined that we're going to get it done pretty quick. That's what we're hoping for. As far as some legislative things, there's a couple of things that are kind of on our radar that we wanted to bring to y'all's attention. I'm sure you guys have been tracking it, but the Senate Bill 279, and it's kind of labeled as the gas-operated firearms, which is a little strange because if you're not real familiar with firearms, I think most people that write these bills don't know the difference in gas-operated, direct blowback, roller delayed. It's all just the same to them, right? But the target of this and sort of the general feelings before facts idea is that the AR-15 is a gas-operated semi-auto weapon system, which is correct. That also includes the very collectible HK-P7, if you've ever watched Die Hard. It also includes a lot of your hunting shotguns that are used for upland bird games, Benelli M4s, Beretta A300s, 1301 Tactical. So they're talking about trying to ban or restrict any semi-auto that's labeled as gas operated. So as most of these bills come up, it becomes a melting pot. You dump 10 things into a bucket and see how much you can get away with. Because inside of this bill also, they mention large capacity magazine restriction, which by their definition is anything that holds more than 10 rounds. And that's ridiculous. Also, they're looking at their version of what they label as machine gun. They're referring back to things like bump stocks that were kind of all in the news a few years ago. And that's kind of what we're tracking. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go. And I don't know how much you guys have been following it, but certainly we don't support those types of restrictions on our Second Amendment rights. And we're going to be watching it close to see where it goes. Another one that's come up, and this is sort of a rehash of, well, the red flag that we were dealing with years ago. And we went before legislature and spoke out against it. It's sort of come back again, and they're trying to redefine that as House Bill 12 and sort of incorporate what they're looking for as related to firearms, amending the extreme risk firearms protection order to allow a law enforcement officer to file a petition based on information collected while carrying out the officer's official duties. That's the way they got that set up. The way that the sort of red flag works now is that, a relative or an ex-girlfriend or anybody who wants to report you as being a potential threat can make that report. There's some process that goes through. The idea here, as far as I can track, is that this is to expand it to make it so that officers on scene can more self-initiate this kind of thing. There's enough things on scene that we can deal with. There's enough laws. If you break the law, we'll arrest you, and then we'll sort everything else out from there. So this could be, if this does get expanded, a lot of the way it would be implemented will be based on a lot of culture and direct orders by individual law enforcement agencies, because not every agency is as pro-gun as we are. for as long as red flag has been around, I'm proud to say that the Roosevelt County Sheriff's Office has never utilized it. There are enough laws on the books that to deal with criminals the way they need to be dealt with and to infringe on someone else's rights at the allegations of somebody that may or may not be founded, depending on where you are and how much logic is put into the process. So we're tracking that. We'll see where it goes. I don't really have a good answer for it. Any questions for me? I'll be back. Don't worry. I'll be back. All right,
Have
thank
no
you guys.
doubt. Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a question for you,
Yes,
Brian.
sir. Yep.
So with this new red flag amendment that
Yeah.
they're doing, they're putting that back on the officers
Yes.
without qualified immunity. That's just raising liability for the office, correct?
Yeah. Anything that comes back that's going
Because
to
the judge
put
is
decisions,
immune.
correct.
Right.
And that's an issue with the qualified immunity is let's push out more responsibility to the law enforcement individuals while taking away any sort of protections. I mean, there's an argument that goes back and forth on it, but there was always, if you violated someone's civil rights, you were responsible for that. So to remove qualified immunity while also pushing out more and more restrictions that would be based on the on-scene interpretation of the officers, I don't know. Again, it might be dependent on what is the agency's culture. Is the brand new cop who's 6 months out of the academy and doing the best job he can and wants to have a long career? Is he going to make the best judgment on whether that red flag law should be applied at that moment? Or is he going to go through a supervisor? Or is he going to go through admin? That process, depending on how it's spelled out, may be more spelled out individually within the agency. And again, that would come back to culture. But I don't know. It's hard to say. But yes, the qualified immunity at our level is always something we're concerned about, especially when the government is saying go out and do more with less protections, if that makes sense.
I have one more question
Yes,
before
sir.
you leave. Mr. Van Fleck,
Yes, sir.
following up with what Chief Deputy Holmes just said, that should be a major concern for the counties as well, right? The Association of Counties, because if they're pushing this where before a judge had to sign off on it and he's got qualified immunity, the guy on the street doesn't have qualified immunity, that's gonna considerably raise the liabilities for counties as far as lawsuits and whatnot go. Is that not correct?
Madam Chair, Commissioner, I would think so. And let's not forget that the Civil Rights Act said qualified immunity does not apply in a subsequent civil action under the Civil Rights Act. You can't utilize qualified immunity. So I think it's a big issue.
Just wanted to quantify that for everybody else. And I spoke to a couple of our representatives in Santa Fe the other day, and I don't know if y'all have been there or not, so I'm not pointing a finger at you, but
No, you're
they're
right.
saying they're not seeing a lot of the sheriffs up there opposing these bills this year. Is that something that's going to happen, or?
Yeah. So I was at the legislative hearings a few weeks ago, and we had the sheriff's meetings. There's a better coordinated effort this time to try to have some cohesion between all the sheriffs and make sure everyone's on the same page. And everyone must have all the facts together to go in and try to stand up against this like we did years ago. One of the issues that was sort of brought up, whether we like it or not, it does make sense. We went in hard against the red flags last time and we drew a line in the sand, as we should have. I mean, there's YouTube videos of me talking about it. But what happened is we ended up getting shut out, which isn't correct. That's not the way it should have happened. But as the sheriff's offices, we got shut out of the discussion. So Sheriff Farrar and a few others are trying to find a way to be able to not step on people's rights, but not get ourselves kicked out of the discussion to where our opinion is not even considered anymore. So it's sort of a fine balancing line, because last time it became the rogue sheriffs, as you may remember. And then that was just an easy way to, well, these sheriff's offices are not somebody we need to worry about, which kind of brings me back to another thing. There is a legislative or amendment to, or a legislative thing to try to bring telecommunicators under like law enforcement protection funds and things like that. In there, it does specify that they want to change the title of law enforcement officer to police officer specifically, which is pretty strange. There's been some stuff going back and forth. Under Sheriff Cage made a very good point of, not all whiskey is bourbon and not all bourbon is whiskey. So to go in and change that title for to identify law enforcement as police officer only, well, we're not police officers. We're very specifically deputies. So I'm not sure what that verbiage is or what the ultimate goal of that is, but I'm always a little suspicious of stuff like that. How does it affect us 2 years, 5 years down the road? So any other questions?
Thank you.
Good. You got it. Thanks.
Brian?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can And I don't know, we're gonna talk about this later, but since he's up there,
Mhm.
are we gonna talk about this later or can we talk about it now?
We should be able to talk about it now.
What's this letter to the Roosevelt County Commission from the Sheriff's Office from Javier Sanchez?
No, no.
No, that's not. I know what you're talking about.
To the sheriff.
So it's to the sheriff, well, it's
Yeah.
not, mine says Roosevelt County Commission, dear Roosevelt County Commission. And it's by Javier, written by Javier.
It's CP.
To the sheriff. Anyway, can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, I don't have a letter from Sheriff Sanchez. I have one that's about the road closure up on AY where a gate was closed to a county road that restricted access, I believe, to hunters, if I'm correct. So the way I understand this that came about was the hunters were there. There was a fence or something blocking access to a county road. And then apparently the property owner,
Sheriff.
you guys find it? Sorry, I'll wait a minute till you guys find it. I'm going to get ahead of you.
You're okay. Keep going.
So this is sort of a hearsay third party kind of thing, but because we weren't on scene, obviously, but apparently the landowner told the hunter that the landowner says he spoke to one county commissioner or two. I don't know the names of who or who they even said, but the guy did specifically say he spoke to Sheriff Sanchez and he was told that he could close that road and restrict access. That conversation never happened with Sheriff Sanchez. That just did not happen. I remember when this came up a few weeks ago. And I spoke to him again today. So whoever the gentleman is who said that Sheriff Sanchez told him he could close the gate, they had never had a conversation. And in fact, after this came up, we sent our deputies out there to make contact with that property owner and to let him know that you cannot restrict access to a county road or you're going to be facing criminal arrest if you do. So that is a misunderstanding or misspoken or somebody was saying things they shouldn't have said. But
In this letter, let's see, it says right here that Mr. Osborne says, I was told that he had met with the county commissioner, the sheriff, and game and fish, and that the road going to his pens would be closed due to the county not having the funds to maintain it.
yeah, and I can't speak to whichever game and fish he's referring to or commissioner he's referring to, but nobody from the sheriff's office. And again, directly a few hours ago, I again spoke with Sheriff Sanchez, and that conversation never took place.
Not me.
Um,
Up to
Certainly
y'all.
wasn't me.
Not me.
Definitely not me.
Fabian, did you do that?
I told him to close the gate.
He did it. He closed it. That was the problem.
If I remember correctly, I think we've had issues with people closing gates down that road for a long time.
I was gonna say I wasn't even a commissioner then, so.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, sometimes it's easier, I guess, to get somebody to be convinced that what you're saying is correct if you name drop or so. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. I can't speak on the guy's behalf, but no one from the sheriff's office said it was okay to restrict access to a county road. That's not a real thing.
Okay. And how are you on House Bill 101?
Which one was 101? Remind me.
That is the firearm possession commissioned officer at polls.
Oh, yeah. So I believe they were trying to go from commissioned to certified specifically. Was that the verbiage? Instead
There-
of it being commissioned was certified?
I think, aren't they certified and they're going to commissioned?
No, I think it's commissioned going to certified.
Okay. I got it right here. Let me see.
Which I'm going to tell you, if that's the case, I stand against that because under New Mexico, you can actually be commissioned and work in law enforcement up to a year prior to certification, but also like our transport who were trained and certified document, they are not certified law enforcement officers, but they are commissioned special deputies. So I find that's weird. I think that's an unnecessary restriction to say that someone has to be state certified as a law enforcement officer, not commissioned. Because if you're commissioned and you're not state certified, you can still go out and work and enforce laws as a commissioned officer.
Okay. Yeah. Because it says the
Yeah.
current law exempts certified law enforcement officers.
And
So
they want to make it certified and commissioned.
Oh, okay. So then I'd be
They're
on
going
board with
that's
that.
what I was
backwards.
asking.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So-
I misunderstood. I thought they
Yeah.
were trying to
So,
be more restrictive.
yeah, they're
Less
wanting to do,
restrictive.
they are, they're, so I was just wondering, you support that?
We would don't completely support that. No one's going to get commissioned under Sheriff Sanchez that we don't have faith in. So to be able to put someone who's commissioned out there and not have to be tied up with the anchor of whether they are actually state certified at that moment, I would support that.
Okay, because I know that you're talking about House Bill 12, and I'm on the executive committee for the New Mexico counties. And so we just had our meeting the other day. We do not have House Bill 12 on our list of support, oppose. Not anything I heard on last Thursday, but House Bill 101 was on there. So I'm just wondering why the sheriffs didn't maybe bring this one. Do you know if your sheriff's affiliate are they all is it a unanimous support of this bill?
I don't know at the
Or
moment.
Opposition, I
They were
mean?
brought up. I don't want to give a hard, fast answer because I don't know. I just don't know. But I need to find out because we would like to have a say in things as much as we can. But I can't give a hard answer whether the New Mexico Sheriff's Association is for or against anything yet. I don't want to
That
speak on
one-
behalf of everybody.
That one was not
Thank you.
brought by the sheriff's affiliate.
I realize that.
It was the clerk's.
I realize that. I was asking if the sheriff's association had adopted it as a priority in their affiliate.
Not that I know of yet, but it's possible I missed it, but not to my knowledge yet.
Okay. Thank you.
You got it. No problem. Thanks.
Okay, moving on. Are you gonna do roads or, okay, roads?
Okay, so again, I will give a report for Juan. He's actually out. He's not feeling well. Hoping he gets to feeling better here pretty soon. He says he's got a Caliche crew that'll be working on the last 2 miles on North Roosevelt Road AP. I can give you these notes too. I can scan these to y'all if y'all would like for later,
Great.
if that would help y'all. But he said, okay, Caliche crew working on the last 2 miles of North Roosevelt Road AP, and that this is part of capital outlay funding. Due to the cold temperatures, he's actually, I talked to him this afternoon after he wrote this, and he said he's postponing that until Thursday because the trucking crew that will be hauling in the Caliche stated that the cold temperatures could cause their hydraulics to lock up and therefore would cause bigger issues. So they're going to wait till the weather warms up a little bit starting on Thursday. So actually Caliche will start Thursday. Blade routes. They have one blade on State Line Road moving towards Arch. There's one on 33 and New Mexico 114 headed west on 33. One on Moon Ranch Road headed towards Kenna. One on South Roosevelt Road 3 and Sundale Valley area. One on Toller Road. One on Road 5 and Road O east of Portales headed north. One on Road 6 and Y. They will be doing road repairs, spot loading Caliche in the Arch area and a few roads around Portales, and of course starting Thursday. Installing 2 culverts and also have some cattle guards to clean out. So that's what he has for his report.
Anybody have anything for on that? You have some on all your roads down there, Fabian?
On Road 15, in between L and I want to say it's P. I don't remember quite, but it's on Road 15 over by where Caleb lives. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's got deep ruts there. And then a washout on Road K, just south of 114.
You got anything?
So another thing, I did visit with Juan a little bit about about y'all having interaction with him, and he says he really appreciates your interaction and asks that you continue with it, whether it be by phone or even by text, because it kind of helps keep, as long as you're letting me know and I get with him and you're letting him know as well, commissioners, that it helps him double check his work and maybe give him reminders as well if he's, in case he's overlooked something as he's working on all of these other roads. So please feel free to reach out to him as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. Miss Kirk, manager.
Okay, I've got quite a few different items that have been going on. So a couple of things that we have some. Carla's been really busy with working on grants, and the turnaround time on those have been fast approaching. We have a couple of things we'll need to be discussing when we get into Clean and Beautiful. And so with her being head of those grants, that'll be some of the things we'll talk about here in a little bit when we get to that one. But I do want y'all to have that. Clean and Beautiful has got such a very short turnaround. So if we can start looking at those and getting ideas as fast as possible. TKM, who is our CFO for the county right now, has finished doing our reporting. I'll discuss that too after a while, but we had another meeting today. We're going to start working on budgets, start setting up bars in the new budget process. And I'll be sending emails out to each of the departments so they can start organizing their budgets. TKM is also going to start helping us get ready with the personnel portion of the budget, so we'll be ready to go with it. I also would like to take a moment to say that Gemma is our new finance person. She's accepted the position as finance in my office, so we are transitioning her from HR to finance. She has, this last week, she actually sat in a New Mexico Edge class and has passed her CPO certification, which I do believe she needs. A lot of people don't understand when you take CPO, you're usually in it, and that's Chief Procurement Officer. And when you take those classes, you've already usually been in the middle of doing procurement or been watched over in doing procurement for quite some time, or at least a year before you take the class. And she hasn't had that opportunity, but she went in there, she took that class, and she passed it with flying colors. And so with that same enthusiasm, I'm super excited to see what she'll bring to the table. Which also means that HR position is open. With that, we've had it open now for 2 weeks. We have received 40 applicants for that position. Out of that, there's been 17 that pertain to that position. And as of right now, we have 5 interviews scheduled for this week. The Bonham House construction project has been, demolition is underway. We're moving forward. There's a couple of items out there. There's a stove, an event that goes over the stove that we've asked them to go ahead and keep off to the side. As y'all know, those stoves, those commercial stoves, it's a commercial gas stove. They're worth about $2,500. Was there a plan for that stove that anybody is aware of that it needed to go? So we can either, okay. So we'll just keep that on our asset list in case we need to move it somewhere until the future when we decide that maybe we need to put it on the list to get rid of it.
Johnny should be able to tell you about that. What was the plan?
I think it was discussed that it was maybe mentioned, but nobody could recollect.
Well, he'd be the only one. That was brought up.
Yeah, it wasn't brought up to us that I remember.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that if anybody had any idea of where it was supposed to go, we want to make sure it gets there. I know that Carla's already done her due diligence and asked Los Abuelos whether or not it was something that they were needing, and I believe it was too small. So it wasn't going to work for their building. But at the top of my head, I can't think of anything else that we might have or that might need it. But it's a super nice stove.
Okay.
I know we have a few bills. I know Chairperson, we've gone over a few. I know my affiliate's been looking at a couple of them as well. And I don't know if I made it back here with all of them. Oh, another thing I want to discuss is some of the federal funding that we had. We have a grant right now that emergency management was awarded to hire a second person. That's been put on hold until we decide what's going to happen with the federal funding that we were awarded We don't want to get into the situation where we hire somebody and then they say, so sorry, and we're out that money. So all of that's been put on hold. And then, let's see. I think I've got some other news for executive. I think that's all I can cover at the moment.
Okay, we'll move on. Oh, presentation of the,
Madam Chair, I had
Go
a
ahead.
question for Annette.
go ahead.
Annette, what's the deadline on that EOC for the monies?
Deadline to encumber
Yes.
was the end of December.
So it's completely encumbered then?
The money for the EOC is encumbered.
Okay. And for the district courthouse project?
As far as the district courthouse project, that's one that I'm fixing to reach out, and that also affects Clean and Beautiful as well. I don't have anything in the budget that I could see that says what funds were to be used for the district courthouse. They're paying for 50% of the construction project. We pay for 50% of the project. I did have a meeting with John Lehman last week as well. And so it's about a $500,000 project. So with that, 250,000 district, Ninth Judicial said that they would fund it. I haven't seen in the budget where we are to be utilizing, I haven't found it in our budget, the way it was written out, where those funds were are part of the budget. So as soon as I get that, I'm planning on having a meeting with Kevin Spears to see if he can give me any other additional information on maybe their conversations.
I'm sure you could answer that question for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Y'all are awfully quiet tonight. Okay, so presentation of FY25 Quarter 1 and 2 financial report as submitted to DFA.
Okay, so as far as quarter one, I apologize again for not getting this to you. I know we've already spoke. Quarter one is in your packet and was already approved. We did have this discussion, but DFA has approved quarter one. We have submitted quarter two. All of the reporting is in your packet as well. This is the one that was TKM helped us enter and finalize, did the final work on it, and submitted to DFA. It was submitted on time.
You have questions on that? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Carter.
Thank you.
Moving on to commissioners. I don't know, like I said earlier, I'm on the legislative committee. We have, or the executive committee, I'm sorry. So we have went through several bills. We meet every Thursday and go over the different bills. So the ones that we took action on were House Bill 66. We stayed neutral on. It's the workers' compensation for attorney fees and discovery cost increase. House Bill 101, which is the firearms possession by a commissioned officer that I spoke about earlier, that we are supporting. House Bill 122, owner-occupied condos and associations, we support. We support House Bill 142, county's low-income property tax rebate. House Bill 220, fire resistance construction. House Bill 284, management and control of free roaming horses. We supported all those. We did oppose House Bill 377, the property tax code revision. We tabled Senate Bill 16 for unaffiliated voters in open primary election. Senate Bill 67, disclosure of phone location for 911 calls. We supported that. We support Senate Bill 197, municipalities and counties bond authority for EMS. We stayed neutral on Senate Bill 218, the election code change. Senate Bill 274, increase of threshold for disposal of public property. We supported. We supported Senate Bill 290, marriage license fee increase from the clerk's office. Senate Bill 352, confidentiality of medical investigator photos. We fully unanimously supported that one. So then I have a whole list of the ones that we have supported in the past was the House Bill 41, appropriations from public project revolving fund and other funds. House Bill 46, Hospital Equipment Loan Act. House Bill 108, Statewide Public Health and Climate Program. House Bill 109, Extreme Weather Resilience Fund. House Bill 113, Animal Welfare Program and Funds. House Bill 128, Local Solar Access Fund. Senate Bill 1, Behavioral Health Trust Fund and Program Fund. Senate Bill 15, Income Tax Credit for Volunteer EMS and Firefighters. Senate Bill 29, Appropriations for Water Project Fund. Senate Bill 33, Wildfire Prepared Act and Fund. Senate Bill 81, Fair Act Revision. Senate Bill 137, 911 Act Change. Senate Bill 152, Moratorium on New Cannabis Producer License. Senate Bill 173, Para. Senate Bill 192, Property Tax Code Revision. Senate Junior 2, CA limits to use public employees retire health care trust fund. And then we opposed House Bill 11, which is the Paid Family Leave Act that you were speaking of earlier. And we opposed House Bill 84, Employee Free Speech Act. House Junior 3, the Declaration of Environmental Rights of People in Perpetuity. Don't like that word. SB 121, People's Environmental Rights. And that was also Senate Junior 4 they carried it twice and we opposed both of them. So with that, I will stand for any questions on those that we did at New Mexico counties. And if y'all want a copy of that, I'll be happy to give it to you and give you the page that has what it's all about, if y'all want that.
Would you like those included in the minutes, or would you like to send me them? Or I can say Ms. Dixon gave a summary of.
You can, if the New Mexico counties supports.
Just summary of.
Yeah, that's fine. And I think that was, I was going to let y'all know that I will not be here at the next meeting. I will be in DC. I leave for DC on the 28th for NACO. That I know that we have on our agenda coming up on the opposing the transmission corridor. So I have worked with several other counties, and we all got together and we made a resolution together that we could take to the National Association of Counties in DC. And so we've each gotten it on our different committees that we sit on up there. I sit on EELU, which is Energy, Environment, and Land Use Committee. And so they are set to hear that resolution. I got on with my conference call and it had full support to be heard in my committee in DC. So hopefully we get something done there. And I will be going back to Santa Fe on the 21st, which is Friday, for a New Mexico counties meeting up there. So if you need anything to Santa Fe, anything I can take up there to share with the legislators, I'll be happy to. I shared the packets we had last time, and I'll be happy to take whatever. With that, that's all I have. Anybody else? Okay.
Try to be brief. I'm sure everybody else is not talking because I'm talking so much, and I apologize, but anyways, just a couple things real quick. Mr. Van Fleck, at the last meeting we had, I made a motion on the ethics ordinance. It was an invalid motion. You corrected me on it.
On the agenda for tonight, sir?
Yes, sir. I saw that it is, but we're 2 weeks past our last meeting date. I was just curious why that motion, why did it not get published as requested at the last meeting?
I guess because, sir, it wasn't ready. I mean, simple answer.
Okay. Good enough. The next thing I have is Annette. I was going to ask Johnny at this. Whenever he puts out his legal descriptions for the lands, can we get, and I don't know what everybody else thinks, but is it possible to get that legal description kind of dumbed down, if you will, with a map and an outline section instead of township lot and all that stuff, or maybe both? Just so that people that are in the community that are reading these for feedback as well can understand them a little better. It was brought to my attention by somebody that gets those, that they don't understand what all of that means. And so they never give feedback on it, positive or negative, because they don't know what they're talking about, basically.
Okay. And what was this in regards to? Can you
So
help me?
instead of township lots description, it could be just like a map of the place that's going to be accompanying that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just didn't know what he sent out.
Well, I mean, whenever he sends out a place that's being mapped to be subdivided or something like that, and they send it to the sheriff's office, the electric co-op, the water co-op, and all public utilities.
Yes, that I can do.
And I wanted to check on the last thing that I'll bring up is the community centers being prorated, as opposed to, I know we briefly discussed having the anti-donation clause on the community centers. They would have to pay X amount because you can't rent them out for less than what they cost. But is there any way to get our monthly fees on our community centers and then prorate them for like maybe what one night's worth of use would be, instead of charging for, I don't know what's currently being charged, but instead of charging, basically making it to where the community centers, and I think it's Arch and Mill and Sand, are the only ones that are ran by the county. And from what I understand, they're being charged or rented out at the same rate as the Jake Lopez building, and they're much smaller facilities. Is that right, or is that wrong?
No, I think they're only like $75, and I think it's not anywhere quite close to that. I forgot what I brought up the other day.
$500 cleaning deposit and then $75 a day for use.
$500 cleaning deposit and $75. Seems kind of excessive to me, but I don't know.
I think that's more along the lines, if they don't clean it, they have to put a deposit though, but it's usually.
I'm okay with that, because if they don't clean it or if they damage anything, I mean, but
It's actually the damage deposit.
All I knew was $75 for use. That's what I was thinking last time it was done.
Any light, it's $100. You put down $100 and you get back 25 of it, because 75 ends up being your rent, and you get back $25 of it if you don't clean it.
Well, if y'all don't think that's excessive, then I'll just retract that.
It's
we
that
don't
way
have
they clean up
500.
after it.
Yeah, I understand.
And generally what they do with that is they hold the check, and then once it's been verified, they give them the check back.
Thank you.
Oh, what you got? Nothing?
no, ma'am.
All right. How about you, Commissioner Creswell?
It'll take up.
I can if I want to. We went to Santa Fe, January 21st to the 23rd. There's some bills that's paid medical leave deal. There's some stuff that can be pretty hard on these little small communities and small businesses, especially that one. Another deal, kind of learning more and more as we're going. We don't know a whole lot. That's just, we're going to pass a resolution here later on. Hopefully it gets passed, presented anyway, about the NETC, that National Interest Electric Transmission Corridor, that coming through here with that big 5-mile wide easement. Pretty excessive, especially for the multi-use. Who knows about the use that they're going to be doing, and it could be detrimental to the county and to the economy of Portales, as it comes down here on the eastern side of it. And so anyway, and I was wanting to ask the commission, I think we need to send in a letter of opposition to the Department of Energy, just get on record with the National Registry that, we send in a letter of opposition just in case this deal was to go through with litigation, and there's litigation that follows it, that we'd have our foot in with it. That way, if we needed to join in on litigation, that we could, and they did. That deadline was supposedly going to end on February 14th, but they've opened it back up till April 15th. And anyway, and hopefully the new Department of Energy Secretary, new administration, maybe it'll get squashed. Who knows? We haven't heard nothing about it yet. But I would, ask the commission if it would be all right to send in if we could write us a letter of opposition to send in there, and because I know, like I say it, this easement deal, I'm not by no means against transmissions lines upgrading, but I am against a 5-mile wide easement. And but we all need to upgrade our electric transmission lines. Do need upgraded from time to time. 150 foot to 225 foot is good enough for an easement, not 5 miles. And so that's how I believe as a citizen of Roosevelt County, and that's how I believe as a commissioner. And a lot of my constituents feel the same way. And so, because on that easement, Portales is going to get hard. It goes right through the middle of the well field for the water supply. And a big question has been asked on this easement, if they do was to take that by eminent domain, they're going to pay them a little bit. They'll pay them so much for it. All right. On that deal, they take that. Do they get the minerals with it? Minerals override surface. And so if that surface is unusable because of transmission or the multi-use easement, so do they get on that eminent domain? Do they get the minerals with it? That's another big question. And so anyway, it's just it's, I think about it quite a bit, and I think we need to oppose it all we can. But like I say, I am not opposed of the transmission lines itself. But anyway, that's about all I have to say. But I would like to ask and get y'all's saying on the letter of opposition to the Department of Energy. See what y'all think.
I'm all about opposing it. But I guess we'd have to have it as an agenda item in order to officially do one. I don't know if we can fit it in down there when it comes up.
With it opened up to the April 15th, I'd like to have it on the next agenda for the next meeting. And I want to encourage the citizens of Roosevelt County to encourage the municipality, Portales, our electric co-op, soil and water. I'd like to, we need to, encourage them kind of people, especially electric co-op and the city of Portales, to see if they can't send in a letter with with us, their own letter in of opposition to the Department of Energy. And but anyway, that's all I have.
And I forgot, I'm sorry, but I would also like to thank Gemma because I know we were having difficulty filling that position with applicants, didn't have an overwhelming amount of applicants on that. So thank you for sliding over and congratulations on the certification. Great job. Seems like it was way easier to fill HR than it was to fill finance. Can't imagine why.
But we haven't filled it yet.
Oh, it's going to happen. Okay. If everybody's finished, we'll move on. Old business. 7A, discussion and consideration of Clean and Beautiful grant and the turf project. Annette and Carla.
Okay, if Carla will please assist me in this, but the Clean and Beautiful grant on the turf project. One of the things when we sat down with John Lehman and Gary discussing some of the, kind of bringing me a little bit on what they knew on what was needing to be done on that project. One of the things that was discussed is that if we continue with Clean and Beautiful as y'all requested, which was to go with the turf project, that would be with the grant being of $12,000. That would be Roosevelt County kicking in another $22,000 to cover on the cheapest bid that we have. Because the other bid that we got was actually $87,000 for turf. What was discussed is that when we get ready to do the demolition and have to fix the sewer line that comes from the second floor, it would actually be in our best interest to go out and then fix the sewer line as well that goes out towards the road, which means we'd have to dig up the lawn, or what we call a lawn. And with that, if we go forward with our project, put the turf down, get to the point where we're digging up the turf now, and then to turn around and put it back down, we're going to actually shoot ourselves in the foot by having to go in. It'll probably cost us the same amount of money as it does to dig it back up after we've just put it back down or just put it in. So at this time, we're trying to come up with some ideas on what we need to do with this project. I feel like doing the turf right now, with us needing to do the renovations to the second floor in district court, is not an ideal plan. But we're on a very, very, very short timeline. How many days?
86 days. Calendar days.
That's weekends and everything. And that's cutting the checks and making sure that she's got everything in line so we can turn it around and collect our money for the turf project. And there's no way we can even actually get that done. And no, we still got to move forward with the second floor. The way I see it is, with us having to do that, we're going to have to dig it back up. It was suggested that more than likely, we're going to probably also have to pull the tree out in the edge of the courthouse to get that project.
You're just full of good news.
Welcome to my world.
So it's a beautiful we got to pull the tree
For the construction.
for the construction. Okay.
To get to the sewer line, because the sewer line runs by the tree.
So what are our other options? That's too many R's. Other options for that Clean and Beautiful grant? God bless you.
We can submit a scope of work change. They may or may not approve it. We're just getting down to the wire, finding somebody, a contractor, do the work, complete, cancel checks by May 15th.
Do you have to have a canceled check? So we can't go out to get a contract with a contractor for X amount of dollars and then schedule the work at a later date?
Could we pay him in advance?
No. Sorry.
So
to jump in there.
On another side of that, the next FY26 Clean and Beautiful will open March 4th.
Okay, so could we do like, because there's 2 sections, right, on opposite sides?
Yeah, there's 3.
3 sections. Could we do the other sections and then leave just the one that we're going to do construction on? That'd cut the cost down too.
If we could get them to come and do just that small of a section.
Do one and apply for another grant.
I mean, I don't know.
Then just do one a year.
Possibility too.
What is your thoughts, Paul? I know you've got an idea on this.
Well, I think we ought to go ahead and do this. At the two small places, and then whatever we got to do out here, the tree deal,
Mhm.
construction, we just do it.
That's what I think too. What do y'all think?
You said that grant's coming back up again March?
Open.
It opens back up again for next year.
I agree with
for a
Paul.
new
Then we'll
project.
just ask for the grant again to finish.
Yeah. Just do what we can with what we have and get the turf in
Whatever
and
money we got,
see if they'll do it in cycles. Where do they come from? Albuquerque?
do what we can with it.
Oh, I don't remember what it's It's Sin Line.
It is
It's on CES.
Albuquerque,
Okay.
Turfscapes of New Mexico.
Surely they will. We have an attorney that'll come down here for an hour. They'll come down here.
We've been here 3 hours.
How long has this project been pending?
God bless you. So could we get that done? Just kick it in and let them do what we can do? I mean, I don't even mind kicking in. I mean, just me personally, I'm not speaking for the rest of these guys, but I don't even mind kicking in a little bit of extra money if we had to get, because like if it was going to cover a couple of them and we did even a little bit of that to match it or whatever, I'd be happy to do that just to get some of it knocked out. The ones that we have left open and then worry about that one at a later date. But we could do one or whatever. And then when we get that new grant, we could do the other 2. And if we needed to put money with that one, we could. So whatever we need to do, even if it's just get one done, if it's a little more than the 12,000, we could put something with it. But if there's extra, then go ahead and start on the second one and we can put with that.
Need a motion?
Carla, is it gonna, I'm sorry.
No,
Is-
go ahead.
I just want to make sure, is it going to change the scope of work by doing only a portion of it and not the entire project that was listed?
We'll just have to ask for a several work change. But I mean, we were awarded that amount. So that's all we have to work with. And then our 25% match of the 12,000.
Okay.
Do that. We need to make a motion to do what we can do.
To change the
I don't
scope
know
of,
if that motion needs to be made today, so get it in action.
I second it.
Okay. We got a motion, but
to
so
make a motion to change the scope of work and do as many of the other 3 sections as we can. If the 12,000 covers more than just the one and we have extra money, we don't want to send back any money. So go ahead and start on the next one. If we have to pay the difference out of that one, I say we pay the difference for that one and get as much done as we can with what we have to work
that's
with.
the motion I put to make.
Well, that's the motion Paul just made.
Get that man- and Lloyd Lee seconded.
Motion to change scope of work to complete as much work as we can.
With the second.
And then use that second one to get her done again. So then everybody just take pictures from that side of the courthouse that looks good, not the side with the dead grass and the dug up sewer line.
So now we need a vote.
Paul, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you.
I was going to leave the voting out of it. I thought we were all on the same page. Okay. Anything else on that, y'all? Okay. New business. Healthcare assistance, Miss Weems. And I make a motion, we go into indigent.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Commissioner Greider?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. We're in indigent.
Good evening, Commissioners. I come before you today with this batch of indigent claims. It includes 8 claims for a total of $23,020.53, of which I recommend one for approval of $210.73. A total of disapproved of the 7 claims of $22,809.80. Fedco emergency physician, one disapproved of $1,924. The patient was brought in from Portales Police Department. Clovis Cardiology, one claim for approval of $210.73. Concord Radiology, one claim for disapproval of $368. That patient had Medicaid on the date of service. UMC Medical Professional Services, 2 claims for disapproval of $1,240. That patient also had Medicaid on the date of service. University Medical Center, 1 claim for disapproval of $18,292.80. That patient also had Medicaid. UMC Emergency Center Physicians, 1 claim for disapproval, $622. Patient had Medicaid on date of service. UMC Radiology, 1 claim for disapproval, $363. Patient had Medicaid on date of service. This batch also included an indigent burial. On January 6th, Wheeler Mortuary informed Roosevelt County that they had an unclaimed body that was a resident of Roosevelt County. Upon further research, it was discovered that he was a resident of Coronado Care Center. The decedent was verified to have no next of kin and is indigent and has no estate, and no probate has been filed. It was also verified that the decedent was not a veteran. Wheeler Mortuary has agreed to provide the burial for Roosevelt County, and I request that $1,000 be approved to pay Wheeler Mortuary for their services. I'll stand for any questions.
Do you have any questions? I make a motion to come out of indigent.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. I will stand for approval of indigent healthcare as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Commissioner Greider?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The burial.
Carla,
Oh.
was you asking for something on the burial?
Yep, that's where we're going.
Yes,
Before we
Yeah.
went-
that's a separate action
It's a
for the
separate item.
indigent
That's what we're
burial.
doing now. So now we stand for a motion to approve the burial for $1,000. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Commissioner Greider?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8C, discussion and consideration of support for Arch Millicent Volunteer Fire Department EMS program. Mr. Lang, thank you for staying for so long for this.
Evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I'm Jay Lang, Chief Arch Fire Department. Coming to you tonight, we're looking for support. The longer we go in this, the more that the state's requiring from volunteer departments, the more paperwork. And it's just getting to where we can't handle it. So something needs to change. Either we got to have some help or the state's got to ease up on us. A while back, we got a deal for an audit, and it wasn't just that, but it's just constant. I called and talked to Chief Bilbrey from Millicent, and we were all ready to quit. It was just, they just keep piling on, and there's no one willing to take over for us. There's the problem we're running into. If we as chief step down, I think we lock the doors. I know that Russell has said that he don't want to do it either, but he's already said when he steps down, everyone's told him, well, we'll lock the door behind you when we walk out. I went to my assistant chief at the time and said, hey, if I quit, are you taking over? He said, nope, I'm done. So he stepped down as assistant chief. We had elections for Arch early February, and I brought this to my department and said, who's willing to take over? And there wasn't a single person willing to take over. So we're all working to keep these departments running, but we got to have some help one direction or another. And I think if we can get your support, maybe get the representatives and state senators to help us fight for us in Santa Fe, because we don't want to close shops. We don't want to shut down the departments. We've worked too hard to get them where they're at. So we just need help if y'all are willing to help us.
So what specifically would you like us to do to help you? Do you have anything specific that we could ask for? Or
Well, so their expectations are just unrealistic for volunteers. On average, an average month, I probably spend 40 hours a month on fire department stuff, emails, phone calls, meetings, whatever. And that's an average month. There's months it's more, there's months it's less, but, and they just keep piling on more and more paperwork. So the way I see it, we have two options. Either Santa Fe has got to slow down on what they're requiring us to do, or the county's got to get to where we have a county fire marshal to help us with some of our paperwork. I know that Curry County has that. It works pretty good for them. They do a lot on grants. They do a lot of, and they're awarded a lot of money. They've really stepped up their county. So I think that's the only two options that I've come up with would be one of those two options.
I agree with you. I know that there is a lot of stipulations on the volunteer fire departments as there is on the regular fire department. But I think what they fail to remember is that we're all volunteers. It's, everybody has their other job and, show up. And if we don't have those, it's going to be pretty bad for rural America anywhere.
And it's hard enough on the volunteers, but it's super hard on the people that run the departments.
Oh, right.
I mean,
Yeah, nobody wants
the
that
volunteers show up and do a little bit and go home, and the rest of us are there left working. Like I say, I come close to 40 hours a month average working that. So, and there's months when I'm gone, it's very little. It's just what I can do by email or phone calls. But so whatever y'all see fit, whether it's a letter of support, whether y'all make contact with higher ups in Santa Fe, but something's got to be done before they push us out. Because then there's no coverage for the county, and then what happens?
Right.
There's our issue.
I don't know if anybody in here knows, because I don't. What would it entail to get like a fire marshal here, to have a fire marshal with the county, to be able to handle that type
I
of
don't know.
thing?
We'd have to talk to probably Curry County unless someone else here knows.
You would have, so your county fire marshal, you would either have to entail, work out some kind of agreement with municipalities
Mhm.
to either take over those departments, to have them underneath the auspice of a countywide EMS, fire and EMS, or your fire marshal would work with just your arch and Williston fire departments. But in Russell's situation, you're down to 2 EMTs and 2 more people. He's done 4 people. So at this point in time, pretty much Florida and Williston are one department. We're going to have to do everything to help him out. So it just gets into that whole municipality and county thing. We've juggled this for 2 years now, the whole thing, and it gets into that whole juggling act. I don't really know how that would work out. He is correct. Curry County has their own, and I'm not sure how they've done it. That would probably be the place to go to talk to me. You would have that issue between, there'd have to be some kind of understanding memorandum or something between the municipalities and the county. I don't know how.
Like Dora, Lida, Floyd.
Yeah.
Those,
Dora,
okay.
Lida, Floyd, and Causey
Mhm.
are all municipal departments.
Right. Yeah, because I know like in Elida, the town clerk there does a lot of the stuff and the grants and things
I
like
used to
that.
be blessed at Dora, but my clerk is getting up there and she doesn't want to do any of that kind of stuff anymore. So where Jay's talking about it, I'm spending 20 hours a week minimum. This is my 3rd night in a row doing meetings and stuff and everything else too. On top of that, dealing with the state fire marshal's office, dealing with them talking about, I think it's SB 15
Mhm.
we looked at, and it's going to be the great volunteer deal. And then now they want, in order to qualify for it, you have to make 52 runs a year.
52 runs a year. And then so many hours in the department.
So the requirements that they're requiring is the state fire marshal's office requires us to have 250 hours of training per year. And now OSHA is pushing in on that as well, and OSHA wants us to have 250 hours that will not run concurrent with the 250 hours that's run by the State Fire Marshal's Office. You start asking volunteer services to put in 500 hours of training, that means they're gonna be trained for 6 months out of the year as a full-time job.
Mhm.
And it won't happen. We're losing people left and right. I've spoken with y'all before and said, I really feel like within the next 5 to 7 years, we're gonna go from a blessed county with 6 departments to a county that has no departments or 1 or 2 departments. And I don't know it's gonna be detrimental to the county residents because of the ISO ratings of the departments will go from 4s, 5s, and 6s up to 9s and 10s. And then it's gonna make properties uninsurable for homeowners rates. It's all just a big mess. It all ties together. So.
Do y'all have like an affiliate or a statewide volunteer fire association or anything like that?
Not volunteer, I don't think.
No, nothing that I've ever been made aware of. Nothing that we're members of.
Volunteers are kind of backbone.
Yeah.
They make up over 80% of the state fire services,
but there's nothing with the state, y'all state volunteer fire captains.
No, sir.
We have a state fire chiefs association.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking right there.
All with the paid service.
Yeah,
there's no volunteer representation on that.
There's no volunteer representation on there.
Well, Paul, you're senior on here, so what would you think it would look like for the county to look at doing something like that? Like maybe a fire marshal or something
I
that,
think the net needs to check with Curry first and bring back a report to us and see how it's working, and
okay.
that's kind of the baby steps I think we need to take.
Okay.
Maybe have him come down.
Sure.
That'd be great.
You know, because like you said, like a lot of clerks doing theirs, Floyd clerks doing theirs, really a toe stepping on type deal. With the county just to handle the county, just these two right here.
I'm not sure that would hurt anybody's
the
feelings.
county doesn't handle our reporting, and I mean they do some of the major stuff, but all the minor stuff that we spend hours and hours on.
We're behind a lot because there's a lot of things available that's supposed to get done that we don't know about until it's too late because we're too busy with our head down working, hoping that pager don't go off and we have to go do something else.
So we also want to make sure to see how that intercedes with your emergency management as well. There's strong emergency management right now, and you want to see how that fire marshal and emergency management will intercede and work together. Because I would hate to see y'all's emergency management duties move around or do something different. Because, like I said, the county emergency management guy, he's great for me. Michael Knapp, he's sick. He couldn't be here tonight. Michael will tell you the same thing. Johnny's been a godsend to us as far as keeping the state forestry off our back and dealing with other issues. So,
if you had one person, even if it just started off just being to help Arch and Millinzan, the county becomes so many more grants become available to the county where we all have to apply separate like it is right now, but with nobody over the county departments in Roosevelt County, there's a lot of stuff not available to Roosevelt County. Millinzan doesn't rely on the grants the last few years as much, but Arch could really benefit big time from a bigger pool of grants to apply for.
Yeah, we've received 2 trucks in the last 2 years from grants, so it's been a major help. And all the admin upstairs is great; they're all great to work with. But I mean, they just can't take on the stuff that we're trying that Santa Fe's drowning us with.
So how many departments is he under? I mean, over up there in Curry County.
I'm not sure, but at least 4 or 5. Grady, Broadview, or I guess they're one.
Broadview County line.
Right. Ranchville, Pleasant Hill. I mean, there's 4 or 5 for sure departments that they're over.
Texas will know where you're gonna do their own meetings.
It really wouldn't change anything as far as what me and Jay do at Millicent and Arch, other than like the paperwork. I mean, last time, there's a lot of things, like I said, that we miss because we don't even know it's due.
Well, and they could help keep us in compliance. We're always out of compliance, you know, because we just don't have time. We're trying to keep our own.
If we to say we go to that direction and get somebody, what kind of participation would stay at the departments, at the volunteer, fire departments, if we had somebody in that position?
So,
would you still, like say, like you're stepping down, your assistant fire chief, he says no.
Yeah.
Would he still be there then? Would he say, yeah, I'll be here?
All depends on how it's set up, and I wouldn't care stepping down, but I think we could still be chiefs and just be under the county fire marshal. That's the way Curry County is. They still have chiefs of every department. They're just
administrative function.
Yeah, but would you still have your members of your?
So it depends on how pushy they want to get.
Yeah.
If this guy comes in and starts requiring these guys have to have X numbers of hours of training every month and they have to do this, then we'll have some guys step down and quit.
And I can't afford that right now. We do not have anybody else to bring in to do what we're doing right now. There's just nobody there.
But I don't think this person would
No,
do that. It just, like I say, yeah, we need someone to help us not only gain our funding, but just keep us in compliance. And really, I think that would be the best bet. I just don't know how we pay for it because we don't have it in our budget because we can't spend state fire funds on that. So
y'all got to make a living.
Right.
This ain't your living.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because every time I leave, there ain't no telling what it cost me when I leave. I got hired hands standing around and not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, so it's not just that I'm not making money. I'm losing money when I'm gone on anything fire department. So, which that wouldn't change. I still have to be gone. I still have to do those things. But anyways, they're just, it feels like to us, they're Santa Fe's trying to run us out. And something's got to change because when they do run us out, I mean, we're locking the doors. There's no one to take over. If me and Russell get mad and quit, there's no one to take over for us.
I quit twice a week, every week.
Yeah. Well, he's just like me. Half the reason I do this is to help our neighbors, help the community, help complete strangers. The other half of why I do it is everything I own is in Arch Fire District. Every acre of grass, every cow, every acre of farmland, every piece of equipment, every house, everything I own is in Arch. And so half of what I do is self-preservation. But that's not why we joined. That's not why we really do it. But that's what's kept me going. I've been chief 8 years now. And when I took it, I thought, just a year or two and someone else will do it. And here I am 8 years and still no one else will do it. So anyways, whatever y'all vote to do to help us, whether it's start a fight with Santa Fe, up to whatever we can do. But we got to have some help for us to keep going.
The point of contact is the state fire marshal, Randy Varela. He will answer his cell phone. And he will talk to you. He doesn't push it off. So if you want to have a conversation with the state fire marshal, he will answer his phone.
And when this started, Paul called him and he's supposedly going to come down and meet with us sometime. So if any of the commissioners would like to meet, every voice that he can hear from, he needs to understand the battle we're up against. He sees the volunteer departments around the big cities and they got plenty of help and they got plenty of people willing to do it. And we don't. So. Thank you.
Anybody have anything?
Thank you, Jay.
Annette, I would like for you to check into that and see what Clovis does and see what they do. And I guess I'll just ask you guys, as a commission, would it be okay with y'all if when I go up to Santa Fe, if I talk to legislators and different things on behalf of the county for our volunteer fire departments?
Yes. I was actually going to recommend that you guys maybe write a real detailed letter on behalf of your agencies, and she could even actually distribute that while she's there as well as talk to them. That way y'all know exactly what you need to get the job done. She's the representative to put it out there for you.
Well, I worked on trying to get letters of support from some of the other departments, and they're working on them. We just don't have them yet.
Because you don't have time.
One more piece of
Kathy's the only
paperwork.
one
Yeah.
that's got a letter of support to me, and I'll get it to you sometime.
Okay.
So everyone has a copy.
Well, I'll be going up there on Friday, like I said. So if you'd like me to take something, I'll help y'all word it if you want me to or whatever. Okay. Do we need a motion for that or just, is that good enough? Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Okay. Moving on. Discussion and consideration to move IPRAs from admin to clerk's office. That, I guess, would be the two of you.
Yes. So I'm requesting that we just move the IPRAs because the general oversight is the clerk's office, mainly that we still continue to let April, who is still our floater, still continue with the IPRAs, but with Mandy's oversight, as Mandy's got the most experience with that, since everybody up on the top floor, including myself, is still new to the IPRA situation and whatnot. That way all of our bases are covered. But April would still be the floater, so therefore in the organizational chart, she would still be under me, but she would definitely have Mandy's direction on IPRAs.
Okay. So isn't IPRAs, Mandy, you can probably answer this, aren't they mostly in the clerk's office? Like, I think they're in Curry's clerk's office, aren't they?
It's kind of about half and half. By statute, the clerk is the custodian of public record unless otherwise designated. And 14 years ago, when Charlene was still the manager, it was designated as the county manager's office be the records custodian. But statutorily, it's still my office that has responsibility for oversight. And that's kind of the way it's been since June-ish that I've helped April, and before that, Nada, with IPRA requests. And my only concern is that I have no oversight over scheduling her time. I have no oversight over her annual evaluation, nothing like that, with her being in admin. So I'd like to see a change in the org chart so she's actually half mine and half admins, if that's the way they want to leave it. But it is the clerk's responsibility for those to make sure that those get processed. And I'm okay with them coming back to my office as long as I have a person who is trained to do that, because the 4 people in my office have enough to do already with recordings and filings and elections and all, besides IPRA. And none of my staff are trained except for me. When this position became a county position, I was hired under Charlene to do IPRAs.
So if she's a floater, but she's going to do IPRAs, are we going to make it to where IPRAs are her priority? If there's something else come up, you don't take her off that. If we have IPRAs, she needs to stay on IPRAs, right?
Correct.
And that's kind of the way her job description already reads. When she was hired, when she went from the clerk's office to admin, she went up there to be the administrative assistant with IPRA responsibility. That's kind of the way it reads already.
So what action you need for us to take?
Just that we're going to go ahead and move IPRAs back to the clerk's with,
something that you wouldn't take care of.
We don't need to take action on that.
Well,
Can't you
we
just do
don't
that
need to.
yourself?
No.
You just do it.
okay.
Okay.
If it,
Y'all good
if
with
it,
doing that?
if it requires a change in the organizational chart to put half of her time in my office, it does require your approval.
But
With the changes of the organizational chart,
Is not on the agenda.
Right.
no, so right now I just say just move
So
it.
the
and-
discussion is then, do you feel like she needs to be the change in the organizational chart?
Say I make that motion
Which motion?
to do what they want to do.
You can move IPRA down there. We don't have to vote on that. And we don't have an organizational chart on our agenda, so we can't do anything on that.
Right.
So
So the
we would have
discussion
to
again,
bring
do
that.
you want it to be? Do you
I don't,
suggest that it be
I'm fine
that
with
way?
it where it's at. I mean, I don't see any reason to change the organizational chart. I mean, if she's going to float, but if she's going to float, I'd just as soon a floater be under you as the county manager. That's just my opinion. But what do y'all think? Somebody may disagree. It's okay.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I think if she's going to be my responsibility, I ought to also have some say in her annual review, in the control of her time.
I'm fine with you doing that. I mean, I'm fine with you doing the annual review together and
And
stuff.
if I just want it kind of laid out. Is her time on IPRA going to come out of clerk's budget, or is it going to come out
No,
of admin
it would
budget?
come out of admin budget because we're leaving on that organizational chart. It can come out of admin budget. I mean, if you leave it on that chart, that's the one that's got to pay for it.
That's where we're gonna pay for it.
And if it stays on that chart, then I have no oversight. I can't give her a bad review or a good review or any review at the end of the year. I don't have any say in when she takes vacation, when she takes classes,
So
when she gets
if
training.
we split it like on a chart, we split it. But I still think that, so if we split it, then are we going to take half of her pay out of clerks and half of it out of admin? I mean, what would we do if we split it? How would that look?
It was not proposed that way.
I know that's why I'm asking, because it wasn't, because I feel like the floater portion of it needs to stay under admin. That's just my opinion.
I recommend we get suggestions from both Annette and Mandy in writing, and we move this to the next meeting as another agenda item to review further after we get more input from both of them. I feel like they both have a case here, and I think we're tying up a lot of time on something that we can just move by for today. So
Okay,
second that
talk me into it.
Hallelujah.
So restate your motion, please. Move.
Paul,
What?
how do you vote? You want to stay here or you want to vote yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Please restate your motion.
what are we voting on right now?
What you just,
Did
that motion.
I was a recommendation, but I'll make it as a
That
motion.
was a
That was a
Okay.
motion.
I make a motion
You already
that we,
said that.
okay,
Didn't you
Mandy's
say
asking
yes?
for the motion.
I make a motion that we move this to the next agenda as a discussion and possible action after receiving more input from both Annette and Mandy
In writing,
in writing.
so we can review it. Okay. Now, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Who
Thank you.
seconded?
I did.
Roy Lee.
It don't matter. It's formality.
Before we go on to the next item, I want to tell you that since January of 21, we've had a total of 14 claims. One of those was for the clerk's office. 2 were for admin. 1 was for treasurer assessor, and 10 were for sheriff, and one of those from the sheriff's included detention. So it's clerk oversight of paper that gets pushed out to other departments.
Those were the emperors?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, and 4 are still open and 10 have been closed.
Okay.
I know we got the input twice.
Two admin.
We're under admin. I
Well, I
think.
didn't know.
I didn't know either. Now we know.
I thought it was under commissioners.
Well, it's Admin Finance Commission.
Discussion and consideration of changes in organizational chart for detention in the MAP program. Miss Ramsey.
So we're just asking that you guys possibly move the MAP program back under the detention on the organizational chart. It's just because we, us at detention, it's kind of our program. We kind of threw it together with the old administration, of course. But we know more about it at detention. We're more in touch with it. We know what's going on with it. So we're just asking to be able to move it.
I'll
on the
make a
chart.
motion.
Second. Commissioner Greider.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Way to go quick.
Do my best.
Resolutions, ordinances, and proclamations. Consideration of Resolution 2025-06. Resolution establishing the county's policy to respect federal immigration law. Commissioners. Okay, so on this one, I will just tell you what this is about. You're going to have to give me a minute to get to it. So on the, I had several phone calls about why we were listed on the sanctuary, under sanctuary counties. And if you look it up under what is it? Sanctuary counties of something or other. Anyway, when you look it up online, it says under there it says the sanctuary jurisdiction are listed below. These cities, counties, and states have laws, ordinances, regulations, resolutions, policies, and other practices that obstruct immigration enforcement and shield criminals from ICE, either by refusing to or prohibiting agencies from complying with ICE detainers, imposing unreasonable conditions on detainer acceptance, denying ICE access to interview and incarcerate aliens, or otherwise impeding communication or information exchanges between their personal and federal immigration officers. And this is straight from the Sanctuary for Immigration. So I looked on that, and lo and behold, because I got called on it, there we are. Roosevelt County is listed on there. With the new administration on there, it tells us Trump has said that they will cut federal funding to counties, cities, municipalities, states, whatever, that have these sanctuary counties for immigration. So
How did we get put on that list?
I have no idea, and I've looked on there, and I talked to Commissioner Parker. I keep wanting to call you Sheriff, but Commissioner Sheriff Parker, and he had explained it to me, and I'll let him explain it to you. But I reached out to some of the other counties that are on the list, and they were all surprised that they were on the list, like Otero County and all of them. So I had talked to, actually it was Mr. Garcia that I talked to, and I asked him how we got on this list and how we would get off it. And he told me that the best way to get off it was if we was to make a resolution. It's in your packet. It's pretty simple resolution. It wasn't anything bold or ugly. It just said that we are going to, the name of the resolution is that we're, what was it that it says? I don't remember because I don't know where I am. Resolution establishing the county's policy to respect federal immigration laws. That's all it's doing. So I just included that, and I just thought maybe that it's very short. It's a half a page long, and and he said in one part of it, whereas groups that advocate for illegal immigration have falsely included Roosevelt County as being a sanctuary county for illegal immigration. So I had asked him how to do it. He said he wrote this out, said that he would like to just go by this, sign this, and then he will send it in and have our name removed from that list. So you want to speak on anything?
Do y'all want anything else, or you want to just make a motion?
I want to pass that.
Is that a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Got a motion, a second?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Oh, motion carries. Okay, consideration of resolution 2020-507, resolution to approve overtime salaries for work on the reappraisal cycle. Mr. Floyd.
Yes. Hello again. I'm requesting a budget adjustment to take $19,000 out of our 1% reappraisal fund and put it in an overtime line item budget. And this was discussed last meeting on 1/7/25. Since the assessor needs the commissioner's approval on how to spend the 1% money per statute 7-36-16.
Make a motion to
approve 2025.
Second.
07.
I got a
I took
motion
Paul
and
and
a second.
Royley.
What page?
Just
And I
because you're
Commissioner
second
close.
Parker, how do you
Yes.
vote?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Good job. I think people are starting to get tired and cranky and ready to go.
We still got a long way to go.
Okay, consideration of ordinance 2025-08, resolution opposing the national interest electric transmission corridors, and I make a motion to.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
I think we've all talked that one up till we know. And we also want on the next agenda what Commissioner Criswell had asked for us to put one on there to a letter opposing it to send in. And I have sent in my comments as an individual commissioner, not as the board. So I have sent mine in.
We have to. Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody probably has, but anyway.
Do they need to be on the agenda to approve a letter, or since we've done the resolution, can they submit it with a cover letter?
I mean, seems to me, Madam Chair, Commissioners, you've already stated your position by
Okay.
adopting the resolution. I'm not sure that a letter does anything more.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and,
Submit the resolution or submit the resolution with a cover letter.
okay,
Uh,
I'll do a cover
And,
letter.
and
How's
you've
that?
said your piece.
Okay.
I agree.
The cover letter. Okay. So moving on. Thank you.
Appreciate
So consideration of resolution 2025-09, authorizing the county to submit an application to the Department of Finance and Administration Local Government Division to participate in the local DWI grant and distribution program. Ms. Reed.
I make a motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion is second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank Appreciate that. It's due February 28th. I'm going to submit it February 26th.
Okay, there you go.
Try
Thank
the
you.
5th, 25th.
Do what?
Try the 25th. Be a day early.
I hope so. Consideration of ordinance 2025-01 to repeal ordinance 2021-01 relating to the promotion of the ethical conduct of public officials within Roosevelt County and addressing the interference by county commissioners or other elected officials. Commissioner Parker.
Do we need to go into public meeting for this? I make a motion, go into public meeting.
Second. I got a motion, a second to go into public meeting.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yeah. So who was it?
Okay,
I did too.
there you go.
Any input from the public on this?
Anybody have anything?
I make a motion, we come out of public meeting.
Got a second on that?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
I make a motion to abolish the ethics ordinance.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Commissioner Greider.
No.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. 10A, request for approval of memorandum of understanding with the Department of Finance and Administration Local Government Division Driving While Intoxicated Program. Ms. Reed.
Yes, commissioners, a part of 10A and B are both just by statute requirements that we get from you. This one's the memorandum of understanding.
I make a motion to approve 10A. Got a motion, a second. Commissioner Greider?
Yes.
Commissioner Criswell?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries. And I'll make a motion on 10B as well.
Second. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
She's up again.
Request for approval of professional services agreement with Free Will.
And I move. We've already done that.
Oh, 10D.
Oh, no,
D.
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 Got a second. All seconded, I mean. Motion and a second. Commissioner Chris Greider?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries.
That is for a small amount of treatment money. We're going to work with our compliance people. Thank you.
Request for approval of the maintenance contract with Jory Landscape Maintenance Service for Courthouse and Magistrate Court. Ms. Kirk?
So I told y'all just to be transparent, the maintenance for the courthouse and then of course magistrate court, the amounts contract should be in front of you. Annual fee of $6,000, which translates to about $500 per month for the courthouse. Magistrate court is $2,400, which is $200 a month. So
Is this a renewal?
yes,
Okay.
yes. So
Is there any way we could get them to start cleaning the bird poop off the porch?
No. So this is a renewal. So this is Jory's landscape maintenance instead of that Corey Grimzo.
that's him.
This is him.
This is him.
Okay.
So what does he do
He
at
picks
the
up.
courthouse?
Well, it states in your. He
Like
does
at
all the,
just the trash and all
the
that?
trash, and he does do the mowing for the grass that has been up in there, and
Well, we're not going to have grass anymore.
I know.
Still gonna be weeds and stuff get through. It's gonna look
Mhm.
bad. Are you happy with the job they're doing?
He's been maintaining. I mean, I haven't been around long enough to see that much. I came in August, so
I like that we don't have to do it anymore. So.
it's
Is
a
he doing
lot
$700
better.
a month worth of services?
As
'Cause that's
far
what
as
that's what you're paying him.
well, at the magistrate court, you know, he is going up there and picking up all the stuff around magistrate court and whatnot. I know he's done a little bit extra and even kind of leveling out some of the gravel in the back where they turn around and he's also picked up the tumbleweeds and stuff. That's going to be our biggest issue is the tumbleweeds in the enclosed areas.
Make the motion.
Second.
Got a motion in 2 seconds. Pick one, Mandy.
Second.
Commissioner
Pick me. No.
Lopez.
Yes.
Commissioner Munoz.
Yes.
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 Apologize. Everybody's getting a little punchy up here. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. 10F, request for approval of FY25 Roosevelt County Sheriff's Office traffic grant in the amount of $25,245.
You guys are moving fast now. I did write an 8-page poem for y'all though, so buckle up. Make a motion. Yeah, we just asked to ratify the grant. It's for DUI buckle up step. The total's $25,245. That's
Make
it.
a
That's fine.
motion.
That work?
Make a motion. We approve.
Got a motion? Got a second?
Yes.
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 We're
Yes.
meeting in the middle.
All right, thanks.
Okay, any media? Nobody's from the media? Anybody? Anybody? Okay.
The media guy called me this morning and said, "Where's the video?" I said, "Well, the meeting's not till this evening." So he's probably watching online, but he has not texted any questions.
Hello, media guy. All right, we are going into executive session, so I will make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to 10-15-1 NMSA, attorney-client 1978, attorney-client privileged information pertaining to threatened or pending litigation and/or limited personnel matters pertaining to the county manager, department heads as needed. Any further action necessary as a result of closed session. Oh, I got a motion and a second. Commissioner Greider.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. We are in executive session. Do y'all need a break?
Yes. Just real quick.
We need a quick